Hello and welcome to the first ever edition of Ash and Piggy. Say hello.
Hello.
For the first ongoing series on One More Match, where we go through WWE ECW. Essentially, it's a weird time in wrestling as well. It's 2005, we're mid-Ruthless Aggression era, you know. But hey, a bit of rumblings, bit of rumours. We should revive ECW. Oh, yeah, imagine that. You know, everybody's here. Fucking RVD's here, Sandman's here, Dreamer's here. Not some of them. Most of them are here. And, you know, they decided to revive it in One Night Stand 2005, which was very much so a completely ECW show. Besides the Invaders, which was, you know, that's more WWE style, of course. But fundamentally, it was a show made by ECW and for ECW fans, bringing back all of your favourite wrestlers from the promotion and putting them in a fairly well highlighted spot. Obviously, you had a lot of WWE's production, which made it feel a lot larger, a lot grander than it was, but ultimately it was a show that a lot of ECW fans will have been proud of. Why are we going to go through these WWE ECW though? Well, simply saying it's I love developmental wrestling. And ECW did get sandwiched in that 1 hour block of WWE programming where you have some ECW guys and some younger talents, you know, because CM Punk most famously came through the early ECW, you know, Johnny Nitro went through there as well, you know, developed a couple of main, like, guys who actually went on to do bigger things. But ultimately, when you have Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman working on the same project together, well, there's going to be fireworks, there's going to be chaos, and at some point, Paul Heyman left, which meant that
Paul Heyman, I believe, left around December to Dismember 06, because Paul Heyman had a different idea how he wanted to book ECW, and Vince had a different idea, and basically Paul went, you know what, maybe I'll go to another promotion. Hell, maybe I might go and defend this in TNA. He never went to TNA.
No.
There was a big rumor that he was going to go to TNA, but he basically went, look,
I'm sure he started it.
But like,
probably did.
He was like, if I'm going to TNA, they have to give me half the company and half the creative control. And I'm like, there is no way in TNA that Dixie Carter's going to sign half her company up to you, Paul.
Not giving any control up.
But again, if Paul Heyman did like book 07 TNA, it would have been mental to me personally, because Paul Heyman is a good booker.
Yes.
It's just the fact that ECW is not my kind of style, but I acknowledge that Paul Heyman is definitely a great booker.
Yeah.
Most famously now,
knows his shit, right?
Yeah, most famously now he is, of course, in the Bloodline storyline. He I would say he has a major hand in that, because he's a fantastic booker. He's a fantastic booker, of course. As we all know, the original ECW fell apart because, well,
money,
basically.
Yeah.
And basically, talents were getting offers from WCW and WWE. It's basically like, imagine, I'm not comparing it to AEW Dark, but imagine you're on AEW Dark, you know, Johnny Two Nose. You're a big, you're up and coming wrestler, you're featured on AEW Dark. WWE might go, look, we have this contract, you were featured on this program on YouTube for free. Join us.
It was a scandal where Nathan Fraser wrestled in AEW Dark, I'm pretty sure did an actual AEW show, and WWE went, you're here, NXT right now. And you know, like, it was a wild time. Obviously that's not really the most key part, but yes, essentially we are going to cover WWE ECW simply because it is it's an acquired taste, right? I'm not saying it's in the same vein as Game Show NXT, but there's definitely some aspects which is quite similar, because they didn't know what to do with it beyond a certain point, right? It's quite hard to imagine ECW without Paul Heyman, and once he's removed, shit hits the fan, right?
See, the problem is, and like, this is why One Night Stand 05 succeed and not 06. 06 did succeed, but not as big as 05. Because the reason is you're bringing in all these ECW guys that went to WCW, to WWE, to TNA, NWA, TNA. You're bringing all these guys in, and then in 06, you're like, we only really have Sandman, Tommy Dreamer. We don't have Rhino. We
Yeah, he's
barely
gone.
have. Yeah, we don't have half the roster that was
You
here.
don't have the Dudleys anymore.
Yeah, you don't have the Dudleys, and it started to fall apart. Whereas if I was if we were rebooking ECW, the one thing you do is try and poach TNA talent, or just go to the Dudleys and Rhino before they leave. Look, lads, we're restarting ECW. We'll give you a hefty amount.
I mean, it's
Fucking
quite funny that they then had their own little stint in TNA as like the like hardcore like reunion type thing. So they got their money from WWE, and then they got their money from TNA, and then some of them went back to WWE, and a lot of them just stayed in TNA, and it just kept on happening like a cycle. Because if there's one thing you can note that TNA love to do, it's like, oh, hey lad, you seen this? You seen this? Yeah, we're doing that. We're doing that. I'll pay you more money. It's like,
it's been 5 years. 5 years since it happened, so let's do it again. 5 years later, and then like all the talent were older and couldn't move. Like Sabu, for some reason, in the hardcore reunion was fucking bald. It's just a weird sight to see. But like New Jack was at least on the hardcore reunion or whatever that show was called, mainly because there was no way he was getting into Hammerstein Ballroom. Because New Jack be like, guys, you know this spot on New Jack, that's like 40, 50, 60, 100 feet up. You want to fucking jump off that? New Jack, you're mental. No, I don't want to jump off it, but my opponent, he crippled me in ECW. He broke my leg. So I want to get revenge by tasering him and throwing him off the balcony to his death. And
yes.
New Jack, we're not... New Jack, we're not a family company.
Real. This isn't real, New Jack. It's fake. It's fake. Russell's fake, New Jack. Please don't kill him. Please, please.
Like it's we'll probably do like how we're doing and stuff. But before we get to that, I just want to give some quick notes. Like New Jack's not on this show, but we all know why New Jack wouldn't be on this show. Could you imagine trying to fucking get New Jack to stay
on WWE TV?
I'm not saying like
it is
New
on
Jack
pay-per-view, admittedly.
Yes, but the problem is New Jack. Like if you go New Jack, here's no script. New Jack go grand. I'll do my own script. You go New Jack. We want you to hit this spot, and hit this spot. Get over, leave. New Jack, nope. That's why it works so well. Why you work so well in NWA.
It was always interesting to, yeah, exactly. Like, and in NWA TNA, when they knew what to do with him, and they went, okay, you're doing this. You know, you have your mic time, you have your fun. You're allowed to be you. He was actually really good. Like, he was really good. It's just when you just pay him a bunch of money to do an indie where he may end up just fucking someone up beyond any belief. We've all seen the Gypsy Joe clips. Like, he's like 70 years old and he's getting a fucking baseball bat to the head, full swing, and he's still standing up.
My problem with New Jack, and many people would agree, is New Jack. You know, we all know wrestling is fake. You're supposed to stay in line. But in the 90s and 2000s, it was a much different landscape where they were like, yeah, even though this is fake, we're treating it like it's real. And you're like,
yes.
guys, you're wearing tights. Like, it's not real. and like people like New Jack, Benoit, Guerrero to an extent, Holly even were like, this is real to us, brother.
Yes.
Because like you look at most stuff that happened in the early 2000s. So take one of the loudest chair shots, in my opinion. Ash probably knows where I'm going with this. The one where Benoit runs off the rope at Rumble 01, dives through the middle rope, and then Jericho just whacks him.
Oh, it's absolutely sickening. A chair shot.
Like if that happened like in today's product at the time of recording 2023, so Seth Rollins did that to say Finn Balor would be taken off TV for like a few weeks.
Yes.
But in the 2000s, they were like, Benoit, you only got a concussion.
Do it next match, mate.
Yeah, you're fucking going out.
Vince, we should actually practice this spot next time. Let's do it 3 times over. Make sure it looks good. Please, lads. Yeah, it's one of those things where it definitely, it wouldn't really be happening today. It would be quite hard to do like an ECW. It would be quite hard to do any reunion type show, because a lot of these like a lot of wrestling promotions, they do have their core audience, but they don't really have like the cult like audience that ECW have, right? Like
Well,
a lot
WWE
of
and AEW do
true, but
online.
it's a different it's a different species. Like they're not driving 300 miles to fucking see the ECW show. Like these fans were wild and rabid and mental. So ultimately they were gonna do as much as they could to support their company.
Yeah.
And although if ECW fans did have Twitter back in the day, they would be so fucking annoying. Like it would be
Actually,
unbelievably annoying. Like I know they had they did Angel Fire writing up those fucking smut lists of all the shit wrestlers have done behind the scenes. We've all read the smut list. Like the time Chris Harris did a job in 2002 TNA because he just pissed all over someone's desk. I don't know. That list is wrestling royalty. But let's not talk more on that. Piggy, do you want to go through the format of this, how it's going to go, and how often we're going to do it?
Yeah, we're basically, how this will work is we're going to set a premise, then we're going to basically do an introduction, how we're doing, in case you never met us. Like, we'll give you background first, then the introductions, so you get to know us, and then we'll do the show itself, where we talk about the show. Now, it's going to be a bit different when we do ECW, like, and like say we have to do a Raw, like when Sabu fights John Cena.
Yeah.
That would be different because we have to cover just the show itself. Because Raw's only like an hour and something in the
Probably
early
like
2000s.
45, yeah. Or the
Yeah,
adverts.
and ECW is like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So like that will be easier to cover because it's just boom, 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 Triple H promo match,
Yes.
Triple H promo match, Shelton Benjamin promo.
Then if you're watching a SmackDown in 2011, 1 hour 30 of SmackDown, 30 minutes of a recap of the segment on Raw. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah, so basically how it's going to work for pay-per-view. So I am still on the fence whether we do the pay-per-views ECW are featured on. So of course then we'd have to do every pay-per-view they're featured on. But I'm thinking because this is we are doing One Night Stand at the time of recording this, 2005 and then 2006. But we also have to do the ECW before it and the Monday Night Raw before it. I forget which one. ECW invades Raw, and then Raw and SmackDown invade ECW.
Yes.
It's so stupid. And then basically a one night stand 2006, and then so you get the timeline. We might have to cover WrestleMania 22 simply because RVD and the Monday Night Raw where he announces his cash in and setting up One Night Stand 2006 because that's build up to ECW. Man, just saying, ECW got like a lot of attention. Like before,
they did invest in it, right? They did actually go full hog with it. So that's why it's a shame of the trajectory it went, because they did invest a lot in redoing it, and they did believe that we could kickstart this brand again. But ultimately, most wrestling bookers are like, I've got this new toy. I'm going to make everybody like this new toy. Oh, you like this new toy? Yours now. I don't care. Did my job. So I'm not... fuck off. I'm not using this toy anymore. It's yours.
Obviously, people know the hard one that's going to be... People already know that 07 is definitely going to be a rough year to do. Especially June and July 07. It's going to be fair. Because we have to be like... Yeah. Oh no. The covering Night of Champions 2007 is going to be very rough for me. So I've never seen.
How good are we at covering tragic things, Piggy? Well, you just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Again, if you want to see us cover tragic things, just watch our sub channel, Watching Walford. But yeah, the format of this is basically we're gonna give introductions. We can't really say what we were doing at the time because we were both children. What were you doing at the time, Ash? Sniffing me whole and liking it. Like with because Ferg is much older, I can do it with Ferg. But since Ash is like in the same age, that like Ferg is not in the same age demographic as me. He's 25. Ash is only 23. So there's like no like at least Ferg was somewhat a child in 2005.
Yes.
And Ash wasn't. He was just like
my
horse man's nice.
Just
Yeah. So yeah, we'll kind of run through it. We might run through the games that were out of this time. Obviously, Fuck, am I getting a big bump on my head from in the camera? Off camera. I'll redo it on the camera. Don't worry.
Oh God.
We might go through the game that was coming out of this time. So obviously, it'll be SmackDown versus Raw 2004.
I think it was
We will
just. Would it not just be the first one? Because obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it'll be
It was
SmackDown
just
versus
SmackDown
Raw.
versus Raw, the first one.
Yeah.
Obviously, God, what is the memories of SmackDown? The first SmackDown versus Raw is an absolute banger.
We will get to that in a minute.
Yes.
If you don't mind. So that's going to be basically it. We're going to do an introduction. Then we're going to talk about ourselves for a few minutes, so you get to know us. What are our goals are here, and then we're going to do the game that came out around this time, and maybe we might look into what was happening in TNA, because TNA at this point we're actually red hot. Like when people talk about TNA, they don't go, "Do you remember the time from 2022 to 2023?" They go, "Do you remember 03 to 07?"
Yeah.
Maybe 08 with Jarrett, Joe, Styles. Like, if you think about it, had WWE ECW just copied WCW in the early 2000s, or in the 90s, not the early 2000s, fuck. Mike Awesome, come back out here on your bus. If they just copied WCW in the late 90s, not the late 2000s, where you basically have a cruiserweight division and then a main division, I think that would have worked. But they went SmackDown and has the cruiserweight division. You're like, because think of the talent you could have poached from TNA at that time. You could have poached Joe, Styles, Daniels. Obviously, looking back at it, it's great they didn't, because their careers would have been much different in WWE.
I mean, a lot of these, I will just argue that a lot of these wrestlers did need a lot more time to develop. Like, had they been brought in at that time period, probably wouldn't have ever had the epic stuff that they did do. Like, obviously, 2005, Joe, he's fucking fresh-faced. But, he's not really, like, a main event guy yet. He's not at his breakthrough feud with Angle just yet. Like, there was a lot, the groundwork was being laid for a lot of this future success.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what we're mainly going to do. So first we will do the introduction, and then we will get on to the video game, and then ECW One Night Stand. If you're happy with that, give a thumbs up if you are. Yeah, see, that's perfectly good. So, how are you, Ash?
17 minutes in. How am I going? Yeah, it's going good. First pay-per-view watched for the show. It's always interesting to watch in a slightly different context. It's always interesting to watch something going, I need to make jokes about this now. And content. Boom. No, it's I mean, this show and this channel is obviously just an excuse to watch more wrestling. And obviously this first choice is mostly tailored towards me, because as I've mentioned multiple times, I do just love shit wrestling, Like, get me a Mike Awesome Tanaka match, which may not be the most technically sound match ever, but they're just beating the piss out of each other. It's like, whoa! Like, the amount of dodgy shit they get away with. And that's 9 minutes. That's 9 minutes of I'm going to fucking break you. It's like, oh, shit in hell. Let's go. It's just wild. Yeah, I don't really have too much to go on. It's nice to be here. Obviously, I just want to mention, made the one more match graphics. That's all me. And I'm quite proud of it. Obviously opted for the Pride colours, because, come on now. It's 2023, lads. Get over it. It's wrestling. We're watching men in skimpy tights fucking manhandle each other. That's hot too. Well, welcome to one more match. Pride edition. How are you doing, Piggy?
I'm doing good. It's currently, at the time of recording this, just coming out next Tuesday, I believe. It's 9:45 at the time of recording this on a Thursday, the 19th of October. We just recorded our first video yesterday, which was our introduction, which is already out by now. So this is your first time seeing us, as this will be coming out. Well, my goal is to hopefully have it out every Tuesday. So let me just figure out what day next Tuesday is. So the 24th, I'm hoping to have this out by. If this comes out on the 25th or 26th, I am sorry, I got lazy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just to peel back the curtain, of course. Last time when, obviously, Piggy and Ferg were doing Pigs and Fergs, obviously Ferg was doing the editing and, was piecing a lot of this together, I don't know what else, but, a lot of the responsibilities have flipped. If you want to just talk about that a little bit more, Piggy.
Yeah, the responsibilities have flipped because this is still my channel. This will always be Ash's channel and Ferg's channel when he wants to come back. Because Ferg, like, we're not going to be like, no, Ferg, this is our channel. It will just no longer be called Pigs and Fergs because what's the point of calling it Pigs and Fergs if Ferg's not here?
Yes.
You can't really just have Ash be like, yeah, I'm Ferg, yeah, look at me. Because that's not who he is. Ash is
Nailed
a
it for the
very funny
first
person.
video.
He did. Like, you will understand why me and Ash are best friends. Not saying me and Ferg aren't, but, you know, I've known Ash longer than Ferg. Because I used to just be a little fanboy to Ferg. Like, I loved your stop motions, Ferg. I fucking love them. And Ferg like, yeah, thanks. So yeah.
Cheers, Mark.
This you fucking Mark. Fire me, you fucking...
God, I got really staticky and absolutely helped it incredibly.
Peggy, yes. Are you yeah, so yeah, basically this is coming out every Tuesday, this ECW one. And maybe we will, I don't know how we're going to record the 2011s because we have to figure out days where we can record, not watching Walford stuff, but maybe. My goal is to have ECW out every Tuesday as it originally aired. And if the pay-per-views happen every Sunday, so this might come out on Sunday actually. We just have to record ECW in advance. The Monday Night Raw or WrestleMania 22. But this is probably coming out on Tuesday, and the Extreme Rules pay-per-view or whatever pay-per-view we're doing for 2011 will come out at some point.
Yes.
Some point at the end of October, start of November. We say that and then we forget to record it, and it's all fucking.
I mean, we have all of the stuff written up, right? It shouldn't be too bad to get through once we do it.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, and it'll be SmackDown as well. You will see a third guest here. I don't know if they'll have webcam, but we are getting, just like how me and Ferg, we got Ferg's, I'm not saying his biggest fan, but one of his favourite fans, Davian. That sounded very dodgy. One of his favourite fans. Just like how we got Davian on for like WrestleMania 24. I forget another pay-per-view we got him on for. We will be bringing another person on with us, Slater, because, again, as I previously said, this was my idea, Ash's name, and Slater was supposed to be the editor, but I took the channel, and I took the editing job, so whoopee. So yeah, that's mainly it. Do you want to go over the video games happening this time?
I don't necessarily have a big scope of the video games coming out in this time, but obviously this is...
I mean, wrestling-wise.
Wrestling-wise, this is shortly after the release of SmackDown vs. Raw, obviously the original one. When was this One Night Stand? 2005? What kind of period in 2005?
June, I think. June or
June. 5. So it was about 6 months or so after SmackDown vs. Raw. The original one came out, of course. This being the first to adopt the SmackDown vs. Raw concept, which obviously would be later used to, you know, continue some storylines, have that big cool Survivor Series. Yeah, I'm Team SmackDown. Yeah, I'm Team Raw. The brands are real.
I'm Team ECW, guys. No one cares.
And obviously this one started with a lot more of the story modes, where obviously you had the season mode, which a lot of people would love to come back in some form. A lot of people have a lot of distaste for some of the story modes of the recent WWE games, but simply saying these season modes were like, they were never that long, but they had like multiple stories, and you could just, it felt like it was a branching story. You'd start out, you'd probably have a basic one, and then you'd carry on, you'd get a new story, and it would go from there and go from there. And it felt like a really cool way to play as either your creative wrestler or one of the wrestlers on the rosters to build up, you know, you're rising up the card. It's sick. It's really cool. And, you know, had full commentary for all the stuff and had promos, it was a groundbreaking time. It was a definite step away from the Here Comes the Pains, shut your mouth styles of wrestling games, but arguably a decent change for the future, as simply saying nobody really travels around the entire arena to have a fucking Falls Count Anywhere match, right? You do that once and you go, fucking hell, that's... What do you reckon? Yeah. What do you take the original SmackDown versus Raw?
See, me and Ash are more, because we more or less grew up with SVR 11. Ash probably grew up with SVR 08, 09, 10, 11. But, you know, we're more SVR guys, so I'm sorry if you prefer Shut Your Mouth or Here Comes the Pain. We're not going to be a chief.
I played all of them, I will say, because obviously wrestling, I did collect wrestling games for a while. Growing up, obviously the first wrestling game I played was SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. Picked it up at a car boot sale, and I played as pretty much the default wrestler. His name was Default. He came out with Hardcore Holly's theme. His finish was an Alabama Slam, and I didn't actually, because I wasn't a wrestling fan, so I didn't really know what to do. So I just went, oh, how do I progress the story? So every single match I'd play, I'd grab a chair and just whack him over the head. DQ, yeah, woo! Story continues. It's a wild way to experience the wrestling games.
Yeah, SVR, everyone knows that SVR, I know it's not SVR05, but I'll probably call it SVR05. Everyone knows it for the amazing soundtrack. Do you have the soundtrack up? Can you listen off the songs on the soundtrack, if you don't mind?
Well, I say I had the soundtrack up. I don't have the soundtrack up.
Well,
But
when
like,
you get the soundtrack up,
I mean, it's representative of that era, right? It's really like it's that like rock and the kind of like post grungy type. It's like, man alive. All of the soundtracks those early games fit like people growing up in the 2000s. Was it a whole lot of rock, a whole lot of metal, absolutely laying it up. SmackDown vs. Raw soundtrack, When Worlds Collide. You may not know it, but like just from the name, but if you go right now and on the side you pull up the SmackDown vs. Raw 2000 SmackDown vs. Raw soundtrack, you'll be like, oh. Had Bring the Noise, had Bone Cracker, had Superstars, had Polyramus, that's obviously Breaking Benjamin, had Firefly, the Firefly,
can you shine your light?
But banger, absolutely everybody remembers Firefly, don't lie. Alone, Falling Apart, like, everybody's falling apart. Exactly.
You can't control me, you can't control me.
Nobody, I don't know what that is. Bottom line, Last Night on Earth, The Way It Is, another banger. Riot Time, One of a Kind by Breaking Point. And now we're just getting into some of the actual just themes, of course. That's just RVD's theme.
Yeah, One of a Kind was not on the menu. For people who want to know, for people who are connoisseurs of wrestling games, who own the GameCube, you would know this was the Day of Reckoning 2 soundtrack. They just basically went, well, no one's playing the GameCube, fuck it, PS2, here we go. So they just copied it over.
The Day of Reckoning series is good fun. It's on a GameCube, and you either just had a GameCube and had all the games, or you just never touched it. Like, I've always wanted to go through and play the Day of Reckoning games, and maybe if we start streaming on this channel, maybe we just play through some of the old SVR games. It'd be good fun. But ultimately, or just wrestling games as a whole. But yeah, ultimately, my memories of Day of Reckoning are, I made a character called, obviously, Tarantula Man, which was just a dodgy knockoff Spider-Man, of course. And he had a finisher which I called the Lard Ass. Which was pretty much just it was just like the doink, like fucking sit on your face move. or the Rikishi, Great times. Love the wrestling games, of course.
Yeah. I've never played of Day of Reckoning 1 or 2. I think I tried to play Day of Reckoning 2, I think, on my old laptop, and my laptop just fucking buckled itself. It was like, I cannot handle this.
One of the things that absolutely ruined me, the one thing I do love is you can also usually add your own music to the wrestling game, so you can create your own themes. It's sick. Obviously, I never did that because, I'm going to have to plug my MP3 into the Xbox to extract this song onto the hard... Nah, it's not happening. It's 2007. Stop it. Like, come on.
I think I know why they don't want to bring it back. Of course, copyright issues, but also you don't want online, you don't want someone coming out to you don't want someone coming out to Ben Wallace theme or fucking the World War II song by the Germans used. I forget how it goes. Oh, the Highland Yard, something like that. You don't obviously want people coming out to controversial songs because parents will get upset and blame the company, and the company be like, wasn't our fault, your kid played the game. The game is meant for teenagers.
Yes.
Obviously the 2000s were a different time. because the 2000s and 2010s, the early 2010s are like a weird nutshell because you've no fucking idea what's happening. Like, like it, like WWE from like '05 to about 2022 had no fucking idea. Well, no, 2013 and 2014 they had somewhat of an idea.
Yeah.
Early 2010s they had somewhat of an idea, but mid 2000s they had no fucking idea. They just sat in the chair like. So like
John Cena? John Cena. John Cena. John Cena.
Yeah.
I don't imagine the Shrek scene like Mrs. Fiona Charming. John Cena. Reference game on point. It's straight fire.
But yeah, like it just again, it depends what your game taste is. If you don't like SVR, obviously the next one we'll talk about is everyone's personal favorite, SVR 06 with GM mode. We'll talk about more about that when we do either WrestleMania 20. Oh Jesus, sorry. When we do WrestleMania 22 or One Night Stand 2006 or ECW 2006. So yeah. Do you want to get into it, or do you have any more to say on the game?
No, it's just the game's just ripped a really cool time. It's it felt like what it was like because obviously most wrestling fans are like rock and metal fans as well. So these soundtracks, like, I'm not saying they absolutely destroyed some people's music taste, but you know, you're playing out like in '07, you can come out to Animal I Become by 3 Days Grace, and it's like, it's, oh man alive, incredible scenes. Like, it just, I feel like those games embody what it's like to be growing up in that, like, kind of early 2000s time. And it's just cool, isn't it? It's pretty cool. No, yeah, but that's not much else to say about the video games. Obviously, we want to hear your guys' opinion about this. Do you have memories of, like, you know, waking up, like, oh, I have to get my season mode in. Oh, God. You know, I definitely have some. They were a great time. But yeah, do you want to kickstart the actual review?
Yeah. Disclaimer for anyone, just a heads up. I will mention it as long as he's alive in this series. You probably know who I'm talking about. But spoiler, Benoit will be featured on this show. And Steve Austin says a very dodgy line that would not be said in 2023.
Yes.
And you can find out the line at the very end of the show.
Exactly. That's a bit of
yeah,
teaser
just
for you.
So just again a disclaimer: if you're upset that Ben was on the show, we can't avoid it. We can't skip the match. We have to acknowledge him because if we just go Eddie Guerrero fought, it's not going to be fun. We have to mention him.
Obviously, we're not going to glorify what you did, but we are going to dictate what actually happened. You know, we're not going to spend 20 minutes like waxing lyrical saying about Benoit was fantastic and incredible because, you know, ultimately, as much as he was a fantastic wrestler, what he did cannot be like his wrestling is always in that shadow now. It's always in the darkness. It's the sheer fact of the matter is you do something as horrific as Benoit did, your wrestling career is not going to be remembered. Like,
unless you're his son. I don't know about his daughter. But again, we will talk about Benoit. I might say he's great because personally I am a Benoit fan. I used to be one of them conspiracy nutters who said that Nancy and Daniel were still alive.
Sullivan.
Yeah, living out in Alaska. Benoit appeared at a TNA show. Like all them mad conspiracies. There is a conspiracy where someone photoshopped a picture, I believe, of Benoit in the crowd at a TNA show in 2013, and it's like Mickey James walking out to the ring. Like, yeah, obviously there's a mental side to this. Like, of course, I used to be one of them people going, Kevin Sullivan did it. Of course,
I feel like everybody got wrapped up in that fever, right? Everybody's like, oh, because because it's something so tragic, you want it to be more than it is. You don't want it to be one of your favorite wrestlers like doing something so horrific, but ultimately,
yeah,
it's been 16 years now.
Yeah, I will say, like, and as again, I'll always say when we mention him, for a man who loved wrestling, he nearly killed wrestling as a whole. So just let that be known, Benoit, he loved wrestling, but when he died, he nearly killed wrestling. But I will mention it. The one fun fact about his death is just the fact that everyone after him died. They just went, "Oh, no, the crossface is free. Fucking time to use the crossface." I was like, man, he's just dead. Why are you using the crossface?
If there's any time to not use the crossface. You just put that aside for now. You just
You just have like Shawn Michaels fucking busting out a crossface and like lay 07 Triple H busting out a crossface. Like Joe actually did a crossface, but he was before Benoit, but he didn't really do it in TNA until he died. It's just like I'm imagining just like someone sat there. Oh, did you hear the news? Benoit's dead. Crossface time, baby! Fucking crossface. Let's go. It is a shit move as well, to my opinion.
Yeah, it's not good. It's a garbage move.
You're just doing that.
I'm sure it would be painful because your arms stretched out. You'll be really uncomfortable. If you're
doing it, but if you're getting it, well, the problem is if you're getting it done by Benoit or Bryan Danielson, like it's gonna fucking hurt because they're not going to be like, okay, we'll take it easy. They're fucking gonna wrench that in.
It's not even in my top 5 submission finishes.
It's a sharpshooter.
The
sharpshooter is
don't need to go
one of my favorites
now, but
except for the Rock sharpshooter
is garbage.
Yeah.
Should we just get into the actual review now? We've set the scene. If you know us, you should know us enough by now. We're just going to go through. We're not having the most vigorous details here. Obviously, we are still trying to enjoy it as a fan, so it's quite hard to watch a show and then be like, well, at 3 minutes 50, Bubba Ray hit a clothesline on Sandman. Like ultimately, you don't need that much detail. It's just going to be, here's what happened, here's some of the highlights, etc., etc. Here's the flow of the show. We're just going to run it down at our own little pace. And if you can't tell, we like to take our time. a bit unreasonable with it. We do love to take the time and talk a lot of nonsense. But yes, let's get into it. Obviously, so ECW One Night Stand 2005. It's live from the Hammerstein Ballroom with ECW chants raining through the arena. It's obviously ECW One Night Stand 2005. Joey Styles and Mick Foley are your commentators this evening, and the first match is going to be, it's a battle of the thrill seekers. It's Lance Storm with Dawn Marie and Lionheart Chris Jericho.
Say my name, I'm history. Isn't that Lionheart's theme?
Oh yeah,
something like
I
that.
thought you were doing Joe Hendry for a second.
no, Lionheart's theme.
Yeah.
Say my name, I'm history.
A banger.
If I get Lionheart's coming out of nowhere, young Lionheart.
Oh.
Yeah. No, we'll cover Lionheart's title run, and then we'll just get all sad at the end of it.
I wish, yeah. Oh.
Because we'll get all sad and be like, oh fuck, why did he kill himself?
I'm a very openly ICW fan, so let's just prepare all of you for the inevitable time where we cover ICW on the channel, because it's my channel too. Obviously, things to note about the entrances here. Lance Storm, if you look at his head, you look at his bald patch and the way it goes, he looks like he's got a knob on his head. Let's be honest. He's out in the red and black with Dawn Marie. Didn't know that was a thing, I'll be honest. I have no idea where the fuck Dawn Marie came from in the wrestling world. Like, just there. She was just the one who kissed Tori Wilson a bunch. That's all I know her for. And obviously we have Lionheart Chris Jericho comes out in like the yellow and the black tights, has the short hair. Piggy asked me,
I love this hair.
Yeah, what do you reckon? You like it? Best
look? Because it is one of my favourite looks of Jericho. Like, I understand, like, I grew up with short hair Jericho, but looking back at like the early 2000s, like, I love his little gitty, like, how was it? It was just like that. It was like just all fluff at the back.
It was just cropped, really. It was like it's like medium length, I mean, it's basically hair I have now, if it was slicked back.
It is, yeah.
Love you, Chris Jericho. Not really.
Where was your wife January 6th, 2021, Chris Jericho? Where was your wife?
I am happily single.
But yeah, what is
after
your
that day. No, I can't tell you what's the best look. I can tell you what Jericho's worst look is, and that's obviously the fucking Painmaker. With his little eyeliner and his little spikes. It's so bad. It's so bad. Because with Jericho has such like a personality where he likes to make you think that he's smarter than you and is a really like smart wrestling fan and he knows what's cool. But ultimately, when he comes out with shit like that, and he like, you can tell he's like, yeah, I look fucking sick, and like, but he just doesn't. He looks like a dad who's like, yeah, I'm gonna go out to a gig, and it's like, oh, dad, what are you doing? Why?
Yeah. Um.
I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite looks of Jericho. The main thing is when he was obviously basically because he's a fairly decent size. He's fairly muscly at this point. Um, obviously
Compared
the
to modern
suit and
Jericho.
short hair Jericho were quite. That's quite an iconic look as well. But the weird little quiff thing, I don't know about that. But
The
I think
what?
the like 2011, 2012, like suit and tie Jericho doing his slow promos and
Oh, you
that
mean
looks
08? The one against Shawn Michaels?
um yeah.
Because
I ju-
2011, 2012, he was wearing short, he was wearing skin tight jeans. He was like fucking wearing, what are they called? Skinny jeans, black skinny jeans. And he's coming out and gone, and then
yeah,
he'd go back to the back. Like
yeah.
obviously that was 2012 Jericho, and obviously people who know that
I
era of
mean,
Jericho know the
obviously
infamous.
that feud with Punk, the feud with
Yeah,
Ziggler as well. Where he was wearing the short tight, he was wearing the actual tights as well. Um, he had his little Bon Jovi quiff and his awful tattoo of his album on his arm. Simply saying, I think this is probably one of his best looks. When he had the long hair, he always wore it in stupid ways, so it didn't ever really look that good. Like he had the stupid ponytail at the back, and it's like, why? Like, if you're looking at what your best look is, this ain't itchy. But this look here, with the little waistcoat, the little black and yellow tights, that's a good look for Jericho.
obviously people who know he brought the Lionheart back recently in AEW against Bryan Danielson, I believe last year. He brought it back when he fought Bryan, and that's it. He came back. He went, yeah, I'm Lionheart Chris Jericho. He looked the exact same. Couldn't really fit into his tights. No offense to Jericho. Like I'm not saying I could. I have a better belly than Jericho. I don't. But he could not fit in his tights. He it just didn't look right. If that makes sense. Again, an example is like you look at Benoit or Guerrero at this time. They're like all five, where they're both Riley
Like,
at top with
yeah,
skinny
yeah.
legs. That was Jericho. Like he was bit. I'm not making fun of fat
He
wrestlers.
was
That
top
you're allowed
heavy,
to be.
right?
Yeah, he was a bit heavy at the top, and he like had big thighs. And this did not work because obviously people who know Jericho, he did not have big thighs in like the early 2000s and
He's
90s. He was
very skinny legs.
yeah, he had very skinny legs. So I was like, this did not work. Like I'm
Yeah.
not like
I
I'm
mean,
not like
it would
making
be
fun
like
of
if
people's.
Christian wore tights, and it's like nah. Christian's got no legs whatsoever. Just it would be like if Nash wore tights. Like oh god. Um, obviously
He,
he got them stem cells banged into his knees, so he's now fine.
oh,
Just like Ray. Um,
had surgery 5 times on my left knee.
5 times on my lefty. But essentially Jericho at this time, not the largest he's been, not the smallest, nice little short hair, still gave out all his personality. Obviously the Lionheart Chris Jericho thing, this was his like coming onto the scene like ECW time, right? Maybe even Japan. Um where, he's coming across as this big, like good sound wrestler, and the
Didn't
Lionheart
he?
just like never say die, like yeah.
Wasn't he like a Liger impersonator as well? Wasn't he?
I
Didn't he do like a
He's
match where he was dressed up as a different Liger, and he completely botched all the time? If I remember correctly, he was doing that.
I don't know if it was Liger. Oh, apparently he wrestled as Super Liger.
Yeah, yeah, it was Super Liger, and he was botching all over the place. You could barely see out of the mask, like basically like original Sin Cara or Sin Cara before they removed the eyelids. Like it was just horrible. But yeah, everyone who knows Jericho, Lionheart vs Jericho, obviously I will always recommend it. Him versus Pegasus Kid, which is Prince Memoir. In Japan, it's just a fucking banger of a match. And the dog is a big Jericho fan. Oh no, he's not a big
He's
Jericho
had
fan. He's
enough
gone.
already.
So yeah, yeah. Everyone who knows Lionheart Jericho would probably think of that Japan match. I don't know if he was Lionheart at the time, but he was around then. So yeah.
God, I'm just laughing at us saying we do take our time. We spent 10 minutes talking about fucking Chris Jericho's looks. Good lord. But yeah,
Lance
obviously,
Storm's locks.
yeah, and about 30 seconds Lance Storm, 10 minutes Chris Jericho. And obviously, this is supposed to be a big, like, not like a blood feud, but like a rival feud. They were together. They tag teamed in ECW as the Thrill Seekers. They had all these vignettes where they thought they looked the coolest possible. Where they were like,
1
"Oh,
second.
yeah,
Just gonna put my charger back down. My
all
phone's
right,
on like 60%.
yeah." Yeah, Jericho and Storm had these. I swear they had these really ridiculous vignettes in. I don't know. I think it was Smoky Mountain Wrestling, where they were both trying to look like the coolest people ever, but they're wrestlers, so they're just fucking losers. like, like Lance Storm's not pulling off any look. He's never looked cool in his life. Lance Storm looks like your angry PE teacher who like rues the day that he wasn't a professional sports athlete. Like, but yeah, it was just good fun. And obviously the match, I didn't really note too much down. If you want to go through your highlights, I'll go through mine.
I just said it was a classic ECW match. Great drop kick. Lance Storm and Jericho do great drop kicks. Lance Storm also does a great super kick because he doesn't fall when he does it.
Oh yeah, he
recently,
fully leans into it, right?
because from what I was told is when he was doing the super kick, he kind of like he didn't botch it. From what I've heard with Chris Fleet's interview with him, he didn't botch it. He just tried to stay on his feet. That's why he doesn't do the Shawn. If you look at Shawn, he tries to stand on one leg and super kick with the other, and he kind of nearly falls all the time. Or unless you're doing the Shawn Michaels where he's doing a super kick and he goes, "Oh, faint." Yeah. But yeah, Don Marie getting on the apron, another drop. I just have the drop kick again, just incredible, interfering, and obviously hitting him with a kendo stick or a Singapore cane, as it's called in ECW for some reason.
Yeah, I much the same. I just kind of went very back and forth. It's kind of technical. It was a lot more striky than I thought for Jericho and Storm. I expected a bit more like submission, like mat based kind of stuff. There was a really nice move where Lance Storm like rolled into. I think he swept Jericho's legs and then like rolled it into like a Boston Crab, which was very nice. But yeah, it ended with some interference with Just Incredible and a guy who I wrote looks like Fat Chavo Guerrero. I'm sure he's some ECW guy, but he just looked like Fat Chavo for a bit. And obviously, he was smashed over the head with a Singapore cane, and Lance Storm pins him for the victory. Honestly, mate, I wasn't expecting Lance Storm to win for this one. Like, I was really expecting, like, Lance Storm. Lance Storm's not even doing anything at this point, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he came back for this match.
So I'm pretty sure he did.
I was like, there's no way he's fucking beating Jericho, but he wins.
This obviously, how long this match was? It was 7 minutes and 22 seconds. And most of these matches go for like 6-7 minutes.
Is there any match that really goes past 10 minutes?
Benoit and Eddie go for like 10 minutes 37. Awesome and Tanaka go for like 9 minutes and 52 seconds.
Yeah, but like as a card, it was fairly like
short. Yes. It's not like you're not getting fucking Johnny Gargano Adam Cole matches here.
Well, I mean, the whole point is the way you make sure all of the ECW guys look good is you don't expose them by making them go 20 minutes. Oh.
Yeah, like, because I'm not saying
Sandman doesn't have enough alcohol in his system. He doesn't have blood. He just needs to. You know, like you go to a petrol station. It's just you just fill up beer in Sandman's mouth, and he's like, yeah, he's ready.
Give me a beer. Give me a beer. If you watch the end of One Night Stand, you see Austin getting very pissed because Sandman just keeps asking him for a beer.
Give me a beer. Yeah, fucking hell, Sandman, you've had enough.
Your breath stinks, Sandman.
But yeah, Lance Storm won. It was a decent match. I enjoyed it. I was worried that it was going to get a bit too like. I love me a good technical mat based wrestling, but there was enough variation. You know, Jericho did a nice line salt. I realized that Jericho hasn't done a nice lion salt since the fucking 90s. Like or since like the early 2000s, because even his one here, it's as garbage as his current one is. Like, he's just not very graceful anymore.
Like, I don't been for years. I don't mean to shit on Jericho, but it's just a fact I'm not saying he put on more weight. I'm not making fun of his weight, but he's more mass now. Like there's more beef
Yeah,
to
but
him now.
even this Lion Salt was mid.
Yeah, but he still kind of nailed it compared to modern day when he tries to do it. He just runs, jumps, misses, and then has to re-jump.
Yes.
Like, Jericho's line salt is great, but oh man, cruiserweight Jericho is not here anymore.
No.
Like, because he leaves in, this is June, I think, late June '05. He leaves in August '05 to focus on Fozzy. There's that weird Raw set. Well,
Just what a fucking loser. I just Fozzie's garbage. What are you leaving to work on your shit band?
he wanted to take a break from wrestling, so he went to focus on Fozzy.
What's
If
the
I can
point?
finish this. Obviously, people who know this, obviously John Cena was very big at this time, so there was obviously a. Okay, Ash is gonna say this is not true. I swear to God, this is real. You can even Google it and prove me wrong. There is a Raw episode in like July or August '05 where it's Fozzy versus Cena's rap career. It's
Oh,
fucking
Jesus.
it's John Cena doing a bad man. Obviously, he can't swear. But, I'm a bad fucking man. Like that song. Bad Man is a great song, by the way. One of Cena's best songs. And like it's Jericho do. I don't know what song Jericho's singing. And it's just because Fozzy doesn't work when wrestling's involved, if that makes sense. Because Jericho becomes Chris Jericho, the wrestler, not Chris Jericho, the performer. I know
Yes.
they're the same thing, but basically music, Chris Jericho. Because he does all the, come on, baby, cheer
Yeah.
for me. And you're like, Jericho, you're fucking supposed to be singing, not cheer for me. Like, not many wrestlers who do music work
No.
together. I can't really think of anyone else who. Brody King has a music career, doesn't he? No, fucking the Butcher,
That's the
the
butcher.
Blade. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Butcher. And obviously he keeps it separate, but Jericho's like, not in WWE anymore. Do this. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Jericho.
Mate, honestly, I was absolutely buckled by it. Like, I'm going to leave to work on Fozzy. It's like me saying I'm going to go to take a shit. Like, sound, grand. Why the fuck do I care about this nonsense? I'm going to work on
Like,
Fozzy. Well, see, it's a terrible band. It's terror.
like,
Jericho can't sing at all. The only reason Fozzy's slightly successful is because anytime he gets the chance, he's like, can Fozzy play in Wembley Stadium? Yeah, Fozzy sold out Wembley Stadium, baby! It's like, oh, come on. No, but people don't like Fozzy. Everybody just loves Judas. And that's because Jericho's just made it his theme. And Judas is a good wrestling theme. Good song? No. Would you like it if it was just a random song on the radio that came on? No. Like, and it's one of those things, I don't know. This has turned to a weird Chris Jericho rant. But the one thing I kind of winds you up about Jericho is, remember when he was in like early 2010s, where he's doing all these interviews, like, oh yeah, people are just scared to get booed, and then if you're a heel, you want to get booed. You don't need to be cool. You just need to be a bad guy. And obviously now he comes out with his 3-minute long entrance where he plays out his entire song and they laps in all the crowd the entire time, and he sells all his merch and he sells all his fucking his fucking bubbly, all that nonsense. It just plays into everything because Chris Jericho wants to be the top guy despite never really having the talent to be one.
Well, personally, like Fozzy, like the original Fozzy from like '05, '06 is actually good. I've listened to one of their albums, like the fucking one that You're My Enemy is on, Enemy, not the Green Day song. Do you know the enemy? Not that one, Fozzy's Enemy. Because people who know it was used at No Way Out '05, and I forget the TNA pay-per-view it was used at. But basically, technically, lads, technically Chris Jericho did appear on TNA in '06 or '07 with Fozzy. He wasn't actually in the arena. They just did a music video where they had Chris Jericho doing that. And it was like fucking Rhino spearing James Storm, Jeff Jarrett hitting a guitar shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jericho, I think Jericho, the reason why he left WWE is he wanted a break from wrestling and he wanted to focus on Fuzzy, which looking back at it, it's like Jericho. Like him in TNA would have been something. I would have loved to seen it because he even thought about going to TNA, but it's just the fact, would he have fit in early TNA?
I just don't think he's good enough. Even in early TNA, he would have struggled.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett would have been like, "Sorry, brother, I gotta win this match."
Like, there's only one space for one person in early TNA, and that's Jeff Jarrett. And Jarrett's not getting beat by Jericho.
Christian, he will, but Jericho, no. But yeah, like Jericho, like personally, I don't mind Jericho. I just don't like the fact that whenever he's in a feud now on AEW, it's like, come on, root for Jericho. It's like, I just want to root for Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. No, you have to root for Chris Jericho. It's like that feud against Will Ospreay where he was supposed to be the babyface, and they quickly realized he can't be the babyface in London. He's going against Will fucking Ospreay, which I know people are going to go, it's not the British Bulldog, but Will Ospreay is quite literally like he's a UK hero.
I mean, he's the biggest. He's the biggest UK wrestler. Probably
there is,
maybe not ever, but at least with Pac on the side,
because most of the UK wrestlers that come out, even Ospreay's not even that good. The person's not that good. He's just a twat in real life.
He does seem like an absolute Essex dick.
And he also blackmailed someone or something along those lines. Like Ospreay, of course, is not that good. He was Me Too'd, but they went, it's fucking Will Ospreay, you can't Me Too him. But most of the UK wrestlers that came out of that were from ICW, from NXT UK, all got Me Too'd or blacklisted, and like that's it. That's why Will Ospreay is one of the biggest stars currently from the UK.
I mean, it's also just one of the best. He's just really good.
Yeah, and that's why he was cheered. But yeah, fucking that feud with Jericho and Will Ospreay, it's like very weird because Ospreay's like, you want to improve, and I'm like, you're going to get cheered against Jericho no matter what you do, Ospreay. And then the minute he came out to Elevated, I started singing along. Love that song. But yeah, Jericho here, oh boy, at least it's better than the match I seen at Wembley.
Yeah, I
was a great match.
I will just loop that around that. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm not the biggest Chris Jericho fan. Even here, he's okay. I just think Jericho's always overcompensating for just never actually being one of the top guys. So he just has to find a new way to get his shit in. And, it's the only reason he actually became world champion later on is because he just changed the style and did the very boring WWE boomy, I'm speaking slow, and I'm being mean, and it's like, nah, it's all cheap.
He is one of the most successful people to come from the jump ship from WCW to WWE. Obviously, you also have Eddie Guerrero, Benoit. You don't really count Perry Saturn. What the fuck did he do? Or Moppy, yeah, Dean Malenko, who did nothing. He was just a stunt man. Rey Mysterio, of course, became world champion.
Dean Malenko and Lance Storm are so fucking boring. I often get them confused because they're both fairly short, kind of wide guys who wrestle that very safe, basic style. I'm sure that's an insult to someone out there, but yes.
But if you look at Jericho in WWE, he didn't really, you look at Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko, Saturn, even Mysterio, they all kind of differed from, sorry if I look weird doing that, trying to burp. But you look at them, they all try and change their career kind of in WWE. Benoit didn't have the mullet. Guerrero kind of changed his style. He became obsessed with China. Not in a weird way, he just kind of, it's basically like Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, the modern day equivalent. Saturn kind of changed his style. I wouldn't fuck with Saturn, to be honest. He did apparently. I think the story goes, some guy was trying to rape a woman, and Saturn just beat the fuck out of the man. Apparently, from what the story goes, wouldn't fuck with him. Based King, you drop your crown.
Yeah.
But and then you look at Malenko, they all changed their characters. Chris Jericho just became the Millennium King, I think. And then he came in. He didn't really innovate himself. And then obviously they just gave him that push on, where he became, I'm the only man to beat Austin and Rock in the same night. and that's what really got him over for all the years. He
And
was
then
known by
became
that.
Stephanie's bitch.
Yeah,
A
and
feud over
then
the world title with dogs. Oh.
and then from like 2002, he didn't really have anything. In all three, he reinvented himself against that great feud against Shawn Michaels.
Is
Um,
that 03?
oh yeah, all three, the original one. Always the second one where
Oh, yes, I'm remembering.
you're thinking of always where he whacks the wife into the jail for.
Batters Sean's wife.
Yeah, that great feud, the teacher versus mentor, which was recreated in AEW with Sammy Guevara versus Chris Jericho.
Not as
Not
good.
done. Not as good. Because
Not even half as good.
Jericho's like 50. And Sean was like, yeah, in his late 30s when that match happened. But, you know, Sean even had a gammy knee. He was good on his bad day. So, yeah. And then obviously 04, he didn't really do anything. He might have been a part of the Austin versus Bischoff, but I think that was 03. I think it might have been 04. No, it was 03 because 04, the end of 03, Austin comes back and he's now the sheriff. And then that leads into Goldberg versus fucking Lesnar, where Austin as the sheriff, guest referee, and then he stunners both men, I believe, after the match. So yeah, Jericho didn't really do anything. He tag teamed with Christian, and he then just basically became Christian's laughing stock. And then Tomko debuted, of course, and that was really it for Jericho. And then he just had a feud with John Cena. And then he left Nid Fuzzy, and he came back in 07. Originally, they wanted again, sorry to bring it up, but originally they wanted
it's
him.
just funny to me. It's just like celebrating man who often shits himself did not shit himself and needs to be praised for it. Why is that? Yeah, I'm leaving to do Fozzy. Yeah, I'm leaving to go make a movie. It's the one I'm making in my fucking garden with my camcorder and my dog. That's not fucking news. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's such a Jericho thing as well. Yeah, I'm just gonna go make an album with Fozzy. Who cares? Who the fuck cares about your shit, man?
Obviously, for people who are really into things, obviously, the post Benoit thing, they wanted Jericho to come on the Larry King show,
Yes.
and basically give his take, but he went no. And then of course he came back in 08 with the Countdown King and reinvented himself, of course. Later 07, early 08. Everyone knows the Shawn Michaels feud. And then he twinders off, comes back in like 2011, 2012.
Yes.
Then we all know that. He just has a weird career. Then the list happens, and then finally
rejuvenating completely.
And then we have New Japan Jericho, and then we have Painmaker Jericho. Then we have AEW World Champion Jericho. Then Painmaker Jericho. Then the Echo Jericho, and modern day Jericho now. So that's the entire career of Chris Jericho.
Oh, the Ocho.
The Ocho, yeah, the Ocho.
Oh, yeah. You said the Echo.
The Ocho.
Like, sorry? Oh, close enough. Bloody hell, we do like to fucking hog the time. Well, that's a full retrospective of Chris Jericho's career, told by one jaded Chris Jericho fan and someone who actually likes him. Yeah, there we are. That's probably as much as we need to talk about this. That's as much as we need to really talk about Jericho and just this general feud and this match. It was a good match. It served a purpose. It was fun. It kicked off the night quite strong. And it set the scene. Probably one of the better matches of the night, but it's not hard. As they're all 10-minute affairs that none of these matches really get going. They just kind of happen.
Like the thing you have to know in the early 2000s, like it's a very different landscape. Like you're not going to get modern day. Oh, Gunter versus Tommaso Ciampa, 30 minutes, epic match.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're again in the X division in TNA or CCW or ROH, you're not getting the time to shine. Like you're not doing all your high spots. Because WWE, even today, well, not today, but from like the.
I don't necessarily mind that though, because a lot of it is preserved in the. This is real, right? This is all still real. It's all real. It's definitely all happening. So a lot of it was just like, yeah, he just won. Like,
yeah.
It was just, we did the story. The story happened. There we are. It made sense. Good. It didn't need to get overcomplicated. It didn't need to be more than it was. And it was just a decent opener for the night to remind people, yo, these guys are in ECW.
Yeah, and basically, like WWE from like didn't catch on to cruiserweight wrestling. Well, I know they had the cruiserweight division, but that wasn't really like you're comparing the
Regularly
cruiserweight
held
division.
throughout 700 days.
Yeah, like you're comparing the X division, or not the X division, the cruiserweight division to the X division. Who's gonna really go WWE cruiserweight division beats fucking the X division with Chris Sabin, AJ
No.
Styles, Christopher Daniels, Dark Boy, Samoa Joe,
Eli
for
Skipper.
them, Eli Skipper, fucking. I know we're getting into
Amazing
tag teams
Red.
now.
You know,
Amazing Red,
all these.
fucking X Pac,
Yeah.
Alex Shelley again. But yeah, and like WWE didn't catch on until like 2016. And then they caught on in like 2015, 2016. Even then, it was very limited because they gave the cruiserweights their own show, and there was like
Nobody
tier
watched
Roman
it.
Reigns. Yeah, unless you're
Here
Tom
is
Campbell.
45 minutes of wrestling and 20 minutes of Roman Reigns promo where he calls Big Show Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Let's carry onwards. Let's just keep running down the show. We spent an hour and we're only at the first match. Good fucking lord. Next we get a promo from Pitbull Gary Wolf. I love how Americans don't say wolf. It's just woof. Oh, Pitbull Gary Wolf. It's like, well, sorry? There's an O and an L in there, lads. You know, it's not. But yes, he's essentially cutting a bit of an angry promo, but also just saying, like, this is for all the brothers who can wrestle tonight. And we get a very heartwarming, well, not heartwarming, a very heartfelt, like, promo package discussing all the people, like, showing highlights of all the people who unfortunately did pass away before they could be at the show. Obviously, one that made me sad was obviously Crash Holly, which absolutely tragic stuff.
Crash Holly, if you don't mind me asking.
Hmm?
What happened to Crash Holly?
Well, it's one of those like strange circumstances. One, I'm pretty sure he was found and he'd like. It's got to be very very vivid. I strongly remember that he seemingly died like choking on his own vomit or something. Like,
Oh,
yeah, it's not really
like
particularly. It was officially ruled as suicide. So yeah, it's pretty rough circumstances, and he only died he died in 03. So yeah, it was pretty rough.
yeah,
And obviously you have all the others like Chris Candido and a lot of the other wrestlers. But yeah, it was nice for them to pay tribute. WWE always generally does a good job of actually showcasing the people who were important, even if they didn't actually do it when they were alive, by paying them a good wage or giving them any sort of health insurance. But you know,
pay for your own hotel somehow.
it's still wild how WWE pays for office staff to have health insurance, but not the actual wrestlers. It's ridiculous. But let's not spend too much on that. The next up, we have Tajiri coming to the ring with Sinister Minister and Mikey Whipwreck versus Little Guido with the FBI and Tracy Smothers. I'm not sure if Tracy Smothers was in the FBI at all, but he was there. It was good fun. And finally, Super Crazy. Do you have anything? Do you really want to just get excited over Sinister Minister or something? You know.
Oh yeah.
For you.
For people who know me, I love fucking TNA, NWA TNA. I've some of the action figures from that time. Great action figures in my opinion. One of the best lines. People will never recreate the line because I had this discussion with someone just to briefly say, if you're going, will that Toy Biz line like 20 years ago be resurrected like the WWF Hasbro line, where every fucking independent wrestling company is doing a Hasbro line. Like heels and faces by Zombie Sailor Toys, you fucking grappling gimmicks and something by Hassle Toys. The Toy Biz line was unsuccessful because it's wrestling in the 2000s and even in the 90s it was unsuccessful.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the TNA Toy Biz line is great. But enough about that. It's just
yeah, I'm not
Sinister.
I don't know anything about wrestling figures. I just hear what Piggy tells me, and I just go, yeah.
But yeah, Just smile and shut up and listen, please. But yeah, Sinister Minister is a great manager, one of the greatest managers of all time. If he was in WWE instead of TNA, he would be recognized as one of the greatest. But obviously, since it's LOL TNA, no one will
Was
say
that
that.
your
Of
name?
course,
James felt like James Mitchell.
it was Sinister Minister. Well, I think
Well, in
Sinister Minister
TNA.
is. It was just Father James Mitchell.
Yeah. There we
He
go.
was the kayfabe father of Abyss, and then Relic, I believe, and then they did weird.
Did you know that Relic was Killer backwards?
Like that. Then something weird happened with James Mitchell and Abyss. But my favorite segment involving James Mitchell is where they go into Christian's house. I don't know if he lives there now. They go into his house in all six. Christian is putting the rubbish in the bin or the garbage in the bin, and Abyss breaks in. He fucking grabs Christian, drags him outside into the backyard, and Christian has this like little enclosed area with a pool. And he fucking starts drowning Christian. And James Mitchell, like James Mitchell, he said, "Get off him, Abyss." He just goes, "Abyss, you can't win the title off a dead guy."
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, no, guys, I'd recommend Sinister Minister, Father James Mitchell, whatever you want to call him. He's an iconic manager, in my opinion. If you're watching early TNA, he's definitely there with Abyss. Even if you're watching ECW with Tajiri,
He even floats about sometimes as well. Floats around
Yeah.
with Rosemary and Decay sometime. Not too much. That faction's dead and buried, but he floats around. He always appears somewhere.
Yeah, he's bald now, I think. Why are you bald?
I mean, he could have been now. He could have been in this time as well. But yeah. Did you have many notes from this triple? This is obviously a three-way dance. It's a triple threat elimination match between Tajiri, Little Guido, and Super Crazy. Do you have many notes from this one?
I just said, look at these cruiserweights. Like, if you were building WWE ECW to be more like 205 Live now,
yeah,
like you could have had all of these cruiserweights. I know Rey Mysterio was a big star this time. Obviously in 06 he's a big star because in 06 he's just a big star because Eddie's dead.
Yes.
We need a new Mexican.
I mean, Ray was just kind of farting around at this point, wasn't he? Like he wasn't actually doing much. I honestly couldn't place what he was doing in 05.
For people who obviously know me, I'll give a little rundown what Ray was doing at this time. I know he's in the next match, but Rey Mysterio at this time, and he won the tag titles with Eddie. Eddie turned on him, and then fucking Dominic.
Oh, it's this time.
Yeah, so like you'll know, for later on, because Ash mentioned to me, why does Eddie look so off in this match? I think he didn't want to be on this pay-per-view. I think. B, he's supposed to be a heel, and I think C, he was just fed up. He just didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
But like later off, Eddie was so happy until he died. Then he wasn't happy. He was dead. But yeah, that was going on. For this, I just said, look at these cruiserweights. The moonsault off the balcony that Super Crazy does.
Oh yes.
Picture
perfect as well. I love how you can there's always a distinction between like a good moonsault and a fantastic moonsault, because some people just manage to look so fucking graceful, like a fucking angel flying through the air. Like
who do you think had the great moonsault? Who had the best? I go
moonsault.
Kurt Angle.
Nah, it's fucking. Oh shit! What's his name? He was the guy who wrestled all in red, and he was with Lita initially.
Fuck.
Did you do? I'll find it in a second if you want to just say any more about this match.
Yeah. All the people getting their stuff in. Stunner for Mikey Ripwreck. I've written down Mikey Shipwreck. It's supposed to be Whipwreck, but my phone autocorrected. A powerbomb into a DDT. And then moonsault to win the match by Super Crazy.
S.A. Rios, there we are.
S.A. Rios.
S.A. Rios, he wore red. He had long hair. Fantastic moonsault. Best moonsault in wrestling ever. I'll
I'll obviously go Kurt Angle or Perk Angle, as he's known by the internet guys. Because fucking hell, fuck, Kurt could hit just when he hit a moonsault, you know you're in trouble.
Yeah, S.A. Rios to me has the best moonsault ever. It's just, he manages to go up so high and so gracefully. It's beautiful. It's incredible. It's a shame that, well, he was shit. Well, he was good, but he was in the light heavyweight division, and Seattle there, and no one cares about you. Yeah, I simply wrote that Guido gets eliminated first after a miss to the eye, and then a whippersnapper from Mikey Whipwreck off the top rope. State of Mikey Whipwreck, like, Jesus Christ. You're on TV, you're on pay-per-view for the first time in a decade, and you've got some fucking clown hair. Like, what's he doing? It's not the 90s anymore. What you doing wearing tie-dye and... Like, I love dyed hair, me. I love dyed hair. Not Mikey Whipwreck's fucking clown hairdo, though. That's just rotten. Like, Jesus Christ. State of Mikey Whipwreck. Absolutely criminal. How he got a paycheck, I'll never know.
Obviously, we and Ash both confused Mikey Whipwreck for ICW. Not a legend, but ICW scumbag.
I'd say he's an ICW legend. Scumbag he may be, but a legend of ICW, indeed.
Mikey Whiplash. Yes.
It's quite funny. It's a complete polar opposite, because obviously Mikey Whiplash is like the... He's like the... I think he's Scouse. So in comparison to this guy, he looks very American. Very, very token American. Whereas Mikey Whiplash had this very, like, dull, but like, I don't know. That's Birmingham. That's Birmingham right there. But, you know, you can imagine. And if you can't imagine, probably on the wrong podcast. But yeah, Super Crazy wins this after a moonsault from the top. Not even his best moonsault in the match. The one off the balcony was 10 times better.
Of course, if this was New Jack, someone would have been thrown off the balcony. Probably a fan, because it's fucking New Jack. Yes. And this is why New Jack didn't get a paycheck. Gladly, because if I had to see New Jack on a WWE show, I know Benoit is literally right there, but New Jack and Benoit, like, coming towards you in all five.
Fuck this. I'm leaving. I'm not even watching the show. I paid my ticket. I'm here to watch the show. Fuck. Nope.
New Jack tag teams you from behind. Benoit just starts chopping and you're like, no.
Please. I'll blade myself. I'm good. You don't even have a blade. You just start, like, thumbing your forehead. Anything else to say about this match?
No. It was just a great cruiserweight match.
It was. Yeah, I suppose it was a fun cruiserweight match. Agreed. It was good fun. Nice little interference from obviously the FBI. It's just nice to see Tracy Smothers like get some shit in. You know, like legend of the business. And had those notoriously ridiculous promos. And yeah.
Was he the one who slapped the interviewer, or someone else?
That's someone else. That's like David D. Schultz.
Alright, I was confusing the two.
But yeah,
this match was 6 minutes and 12 seconds for people who wanted to.
Yeah, it was very quick, very get your shit in, but ultimately, Little Guido didn't do much. Nor did anybody else really, but it was good fun. Like I said, fast. Haha, remember this? Lol. Yes, you do. Yeah. Next up, we have Psychosis versus Rey Mysterio. And, you know, Psychosis, fantastic mask, really good, great gear, but this mask is just fantastic. Gets on the top rope, takes it off. Why'd you take it off? Like, he's clearly, like, in his 40s at this point. Like, just keep the fucking mask on, mate. Nobody wants to see your face. Like, he looks like the greasiest man ever.
For people, because obviously, again, it didn't happen in WWE because WWE actually realized hey, maybe marketing people with masks is actually a great idea. But for people who want me to shit on WCW, obviously Eric Bischoff, maybe Ted Turner, but mainly Eric Bischoff went, guys, you know what? These masks won't sell well, brother. You know what will? You take your mask off. Everyone wants to see your face.
Like,
So like Hooven 2 took his mask off. Fucking Ray took his
yeah,
mask off. I do love Ray without the mask because he does look like a child.
he does
Like
look
he
like he
does.
does look like a child. That is very true.
Um,
I just looked up. Psychosis would have been 44 at the time.
fuck.
It's always
Why?
funny to look at all these ECW guys. They've aged like a fucking English gremlin. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm looking at, but you know how like most English men, like in their 20s, absolute dream modes, gorgeous, delicious. But then the second they get like mid 30s, just get fat, they just start balding, like, and then at 40 they're just a fat, bald like gremlin, like that's apparently all of these ECW guys have lived the hardest life known to man. Cause mate, just looking at Sabu's like in his mid 40s and he looks about 70. Like,
Well, to be
how's he fucking? How do they all
To be-
look so old?
like to be fair, I'll give Sabu credit because Sabu like he did bad wire matches and like he took like fucking not flaming chair shots, but like flaming barbed wire shots.
I mean,
So
yeah,
I give
Sabu
Sabu
was
credit.
mental, but like, at least he got paid for it. Hopefully, well, and most of the time, probably not all the time. It was ECW.
We're
all right.
paying the TNA money.
But yeah, this Rey Mysterio and Psychosis match, it was a lot of jump. It was just a standard luchador match, really. Like, imagine any of the matches on WCW. It's kind of in the same vein of that, really. Like, they probably got what, like 9 minutes.
6 minutes.
They got 6 minutes. You get your shit in, I get my shit in. The funniest bit is obviously Psychosis wants to dive into the blonde with the big tits in the front row because he's like, "Oh, I've been thrown out to the ring. Oh, fucking hell!"
Yeah, I basically my notes here is 2 luchadors locking up, headlocks, lockups, victory roll by Rey Mysterio, whiplash, brawl outside, psycho guillotine to the outside. Psychosis falls into the crowd, into the lap of the girl with the big tits. Jumpy face city thing that Ray does. The legs out.
Jumping cock to the face.
Yeah, into the crowd.
Big Rider. It's fucking.
And that's all I have written down because the next thing is about the Invaders, where I get to say my favorite JPL line.
Yeah, he obviously Ray won with a 619 and then the West Coast Pop. I think I'm not saying I hate the ECW fans, but because Ray obviously didn't do the 619 in ECW, they're like, "Boo! That's not our fucking move." But then he does the West Coast Pop, which is the like snap Hurricane Rana into the pin. So they were slightly happier. Also, just one thing I want to say, since we were talking about how unbelievably old Psychosis looks. Ray genuinely looks like a child here. Like, he doesn't have nearly as many tattoos. And
what age
is
he at this time?
I don't know, but he looks like an absolute child. It's just really funny. Where is Rey Mysterio? Rey Mysterio is currently 48. So, what, like 18 years ago, he would have been 30? Yeah, he would have been 30 at this time.
I'm just trying to unplug my laptop.
I guess he also just didn't have his little goatee, which he, doesn't help him looking young when he is like 4'7". He's not that small. He's not that small.
What was he, fucking Lord Farquaad?
But then again, WWE tries to call him 5'6", so ultimately, yeah, he's billed at 5'6". Fuck.
Didn't they fucking build Adam Cole as like 6 foot?
Oh yeah, it's something ridiculous. He's 5'11". It's like, nah, homie. But yeah, it was a decent match. It was good fun, as I said before. Not many of the. I just want to make it clear that a lot of these matches, they don't necessarily build to anything. They just exist. It's just wah. It's the best hits, right? It's the greatest hits. Remember what you liked years ago. Well, here's more of the same. There's no surprises. There's no stupid stuff. It's just here's what you have. Next up, we have the Raw or is it SmackDown? We have the SmackDown Invaders as Kurt cuts one of those "you people" promos.
He doesn't cut. Did he cut it yet?
He does, and he cuts a promo on the ECW audience. As I said, classic "you people." Obviously, the crowds are just like, "You suck dick, you suck dick," and then Kurt responds with, "Your mother taught me how." That's why Kurt's such a good comedy character, because that's a cell phone in this. That is a self own in this story, because obviously it's 2005. Nobody's sucking dick no men sucking dick in them days. We're all full-blooded men. So it's just, your mum taught me how to suck dick. Sound fucking banger line.
Just to give a bit of feedback. SmackDown in face ECW JBL. If I can find the clip, I'm going to put it in. I'm just going to put the audio in over me saying it. JBL holds up a ticket.
I got a ticket, you little Mexican.
Told me.
Yes. Shut your mouth, you little Mexicans. Oh, Jesus. What are you doing, JBL?
Basically, to do more remembering of ECW, ECW's best moments, and then Joel Gartner, I think that's his name, basically goes off and tries to interview JBL, and JBL, being a cunt,
pushes fuck out of him.
He just pushes him and kicks him, and it's like, mate,
he also kicks him square in his hole. Like, he puts that finely pointed heel, that finely pointed tip, right in his hole. Unreasonable.
People who say JBL wasn't a bellend that took wrestling fake, he was an absolute bellend.
One of the worst fuckers.
Because
he was believing his own hype, wasn't he? Like, yeah, I'm the fucking best. And it's like, mate, Vince made you good.
What was it he was doing with wrestlers' knobs? Wasn't he just slapping them or something?
I don't know. Never heard of this.
He'd go around the fucking the locker room when people were having showers and just smack them with towels in the dick. Apparently, from what I heard, it was something like that. Or he just looked at their cock and bollocks, and I'm like, mate, you say you're not gay. Your brother taught you how.
JBL's promo. Have any more on that, or should we just continue?
Basically, RVD comes out. He cuts a very Triple H promo. And when I say Triple H promo, it doesn't mean bad or good. It just means it goes on for a long time. Because he's like, this is my idea. In WWE, they make me say, whatever, bro. That's cool. But over here in ECW, I am the original innovator. I created this. I made this happen. We did a documentary on ECW. And it's like, RVD, fucking... I understand you got to get your shit in, but did it have to be 15, 20 minutes?
He gets all of his shit in. But then again, I've never seen RVD really talk other than, he jokes saying oh, remember when RVD used to have a vocabulary and didn't say cool and whatever? It's like, yeah, fair enough. Also with Bill Alfonso, no idea who that is. His voice sounds as hoarse as anything else. It's hilarious.
Bill,
one thing I just wanted to...
Okay.
I suppose... Actually, no. Maybe mine's a conversation point, so you go first.
Yeah. Basically, for people who want to know who Bill Alfonso is, he used to be a manager of Sabu and RVD in ECW. I believe there was an RVD versus Sabu match. I'm thinking of the TNA match, where Bill Alfonso has to choose a side, and he doesn't choose a side. He was like a manager to pull Sabu and Rob Van Dam. And then basically Rhino comes out and spears RVD, and then the lights go out, but we'll get that in a minute. What did you want to say?
I just wanted to say, what do you take about Bill Alfonso's whistle as a manager prop? Because
I
I
don't know
love
what
it. I'm all here for it. Can we get more? Can we get a manager with a whistle, please? Like, just give it to an absolute dick heel, and just have him blow that whistle like a motherfucker. Because nobody hates it more than you're trying to enjoy something. Fuck off! Stop fucking whistling, you prick! Stop! Like, Alfonso, fucking, he whistled like there was no tomorrow. Anytime he could get his shit in, he got his shit in, and his shit is blowing that whistle.
Isn't not many wrestlers had like props like that? Like Jimmy Hart obviously had the microphone. I believe that was the
Cornet with a
only one.
racket.
Yeah, but you're not really gonna whistle
Oh
a
yeah,
racket.
yeah,
Or,
like the loud one.
yeah.
ICW fame. Chris Tall had a megaphone. There we are. Just gonna get my shit in there as well. Learning from RVD from the best.
Bobby Heenan had the fucking. Bobby Heenan didn't have anything. He was just a great talker.
Yeah.
It's understandable. I love. You don't love Bobby Heenan. You're not a wrestling fan. Let's be honest. Who can't love Bobby Heenan and the brain? Is it no? He is the brain.
Gorilla Monsoon.
Fucking Gorilla Monsoon. I forget what they called Gorilla Monsoon's nicknames. I was just thinking of Bobby Heenan's. Yeah, obviously, another one is Sinister Minister, of course. The father, James Mitchell.
Yeah.
You have Paul Heyman, great
His
one.
massive phone.
Yeah, his massive phone, and then he was just Brock Lesnar's manager or escort. I don't know what he was. Escorted him around the place.
Special counsel.
Here's your locker room.
Wait, no, that's Roman Reigns.
Then he's wrong.
I don't know, something like that. Doesn't matter.
And then there was all Paul Heyman guys like RVD. Then you had like CM Punk, The Big Show.
Cesaro.
Weird. Cesaro. No one remembers Cesaro. Here's one. Curtis Axel. He was a Paul Heyman guy. He beat Triple H
That's a boy right there. Yeah, but that match, it felt like Triple H was gonna die. Like, he's like going around clutching his heart, and it's like, fucking hell, you good, mate? You good?
Obviously another manager is Paul Bearer. Everyone like Paul Bearer or Paul Mooney as he was known in the Indies. If you watch shoot interviews of Paul Bearer or Paul Mooney,
he's so funny. Fucking
he is.
Plus, he's got the most ridiculous actual name ever. Isn't he called Percy Pringle?
Yeah, I think his name's
Which is
Percy Pringle.
unbelievably ridiculous.
Like he's just it's a shame what his sons did to his legacy, because they basically pawned off his Hall of Fame ring. I think I'm not too sure. I might be thinking of another one, but
you know,
you just wear that ring and all you hear is, "Oh yes, my Undertaker."
My Undertaker.
You obviously had Harvey Whippleman was another manager. No one remembers him. Andy Kaufman.
To be fair, I wasn't intending this to become a segment on managers. I was more so just talking about the whistle.
I was just going through the managers.
And just going through the props. Like, somebody should have a whistle. It's a great thing. Give it to, I don't know. I don't care about current wrestling. Yeah, I don't need to do a current example. But yeah, essentially, RVD cuts this really long promo until he's interrupted by Gore. As Rhino attacks Rob, rips off his knee brace, and obviously he keeps stomping until the lights go out. Obviously, Sabu doing that. And a match is made official. Sabu versus Rhino. Do you have any big notes for this one?
No, not much to say. Sabu chair jumped to the outside.
Yes.
Sabu getting beat up. Not much to say. RVD interfered, and then it's pretty obvious who wins. Rhino, of course.
Yeah, obviously RVD interfered, came out, hit like a. Obviously Van Dam had all the dumb Van Terminator nonsense, all those dumb names.
Van Terminator,
like all this shit. And he obviously does like a basement drop kick with a chair to his face. And is that it? Is that all he does?
Yeah, he can't really do much. He's only have one cut back.
I was wondering if the leg injury was real, but it must be, right?
It is. I think it is real, because he wanted to work one night stand, but Vince's like, no, you can't.
You do have.
Then obviously,
yeah.
You do have a gammy knee, so like they went one night stand 2006.
Yes. But yeah, and Sabu drives Rhino through a table with a chair to the head after heavy interference from a clearly injured RVD. Just wrote, as we mentioned it briefly before, Sabu looks 60 when he's 40. Like he looks so old. I don't want to see an image of Sabu now, because good lord. Like,
Yeah.
I'd just cover up if I was him, because he's going to scare the kids.
Like, obviously, if you read Sabu's book, he just shits on everyone. Like, one person he shits on the most is Test. I don't know if you heard about this.
No.
He's just, whenever he gets the chance on his book, he's like, fuck Test. Fucking hate Test. Fuck you, Test.
Why?
I don't know.
He's just no context. Fuck Test.
Like, I was watching Baku's stream reading the book, and all that kept coming up was just him, just Sabu talking his time in WWE ECW saying, fuck you, Test. Like, Test do.
What did Test do?
Like,
Is
Sabu
Test
just hate
still dead? Yes.
people just hate. He just hated people for some reason.
I mean, it's always funny, like, that Sabu would write a book considering his entire career he didn't say anything. Like, but I don't need to read Sabu's fucking memoirs. Like, he spent our whole career being mute.
I would recommend his book though, because like he just talked with the original Sheik and how he was trained at like 18, 19. Like, it's good. Didn't read much of it personally.
Never read it, of course.
But all I know is he
Just
does
listen
shit
to
on
someone
Test.
else read it.
The fucking fuck you Test is brilliant. Fucking hate Test.
We have Al Snow cutting a backstage promo with Head. I assume it's just the normal generic. What does everybody want?
What does everybody need?
Head.
Edgies.
I'm good, thanks. I didn't realize how disgusting that whole thing was until I actually thought about it and went, guys, come on. I get that it's the Attitude Era and it's probably a Vince Russo decision, but please.
No, Vince Russo left by that time.
Okay, well, I mean, it was a Vince was like, ha 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 ha.
Knob cheese.
Exactly. Yeah, just one thing that's funny, and I don't know if I'll ever actually get a chance to talk about it. How was Al Snow like a really fun personality in the Attitude Era, but now he's just a miserable cunt? Like, he's so angry all the time. But it's not that he's angry all the time. It's that he's also like fucking. Like, he's in better shape than he was his entire wrestling career.
I don't really know how to describe Al Snow, because
like, his seminars are really interesting if you actually go and watch it, where he talks about wrestling, about selling, about how to treat the business. You're like, all right, this is interesting. But then he's just sat there with a scowl on his face, like, fuck you.
It is Al Snow. That's all I can say. Next up is the disclaimer, of course, where Eddie Guerrero fights someone that we can't name, but obviously, if you watch this, it's Benoit.
Yes.
I can't really speak for this match, even though Eddie said it. Benoit said it was Eddie or Benoit who said like they owe him. I think Eddie said to Chris backstage, "I owe you one," because Eddie didn't think the match was right. Never happened, of course, which is very sad when you look at it.
Yeah, I owe you a match in the future. I'll put a fucking shift in next time, type deal, right?
Yeah, and it never happened. Obviously, like this match, you just go watch it. I understand if you don't like Benoit, you don't have to watch it, but yeah, exactly. I can't really describe what happens in this match because it's just two mates hitting each other. That's all.
Not much really happened. It was just like I'll get you, like, you're in the corner, and you're like lobbying, but it was just it was a really muted match from both of them, I would argue. Like, I don't know if, like, obviously Eddie is clearly a heel as he just walks out, just looks fucking miserable to be there.
He does.
Like, he looks so upset to be here. And
working ECW out there then.
I don't understand. Like, he must. I don't know. Like, he seems like a guy who would obviously give everything to the business if he had the choice. So
he pretty much did.
Like, but yeah, fucking hell, he looked so miserable. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I didn't really write much for notes. It was a strong match. It was good fun. It was just can you one up me type deal. And it went back and forth. Obviously Chris makes Eddie tap out to the crossface. It was a decent enough match. What did you reckon?
Again, it's just, I understand people go tired to watch Chris matches, but you have to understand it's a different time, obviously. But like, it is literally just two. It's like if me and Ash went out to a wrestling ring and just went, "Fuck it, we'll have fun." They were having fun. Well,
Yeah.
I at least think they were having fun because Chris, he was a serious performer. Chris was like, there's a story about him where he wrestles Chris Jericho and he botches a move in Japan, and then he goes backstage. Jericho finds him. He's doing like 400 squats because he messed up a move. Like Benoit very much took wrestling serious. Like, you know, like how me and Ash were joking, go, mate, don't take wrestling serious. When I literally say Benoit put his life on the line for wrestling, Benoit was like, I ride or die with this shit.
Yes.
Like I'm not saying many wrestlers don't take wrestling serious, but there's a difference between taking wrestling serious and taking it seriously.
I mean, it's like the stories of when like Brian Kendrick and Paul London were like on the road with like Crash, Ali, Ben and Benoit, and they went to Waffle House, and like Kendrick and London are like getting like this fucking ridiculously sweet, like sugary like waffles, and then Benoit and Crash Ali are like, I've ordered you 3 steaks. I've ordered you 3 steaks. You're gonna eat them all with me right now. Like, it's just very.
I shit myself.
It's very intense, kind of. We take this business seriously.
Yeah,
I still find like I can appreciate what people do give for the sport, but I still fundamentally, like when you hear all the stories, are like, oh yeah, then there were all these clubs, you know. You had the backstage crew, yeah. It was Undertaker and it was all the Samoans. It's like, okay. So, yeah, and then you had the Clique. And it's like, you're all people playing fake wrestling in a fucking wrestling ring in spandex. You're not fucking gangsters. It's not the Sopranos over here. Like, moving pieces like, oh, well, we intercepted a pickup from the Clique. And it turns out they're actually on a spike all our drinks with LSD. So make sure we're going to get them back real good. It's like, it's not cool. You're not cool, lads. You're all losers. Like, grow up. It's not high school. You're getting paid millions of dollars to fucking fuck yourself up. Stop acting like it's the Wild West.
Yeah, it's just like, if you, like, I understand people, you know, oh, Benoit, but if you look at him, he very much, like, if you tell Benoit wrestling is fake, I'm not saying he'd do what Nish did to Sucky, where he grabs by the throat and says it's not, but, I'm not
tell
saying
me you're lying. You tell me you're fucking lying. You will admit that you're wrong.
Because, I understand now we got Benoit was scary, but genuinely, you look at him, like, at him,
his intensity was one of the big, like, selling points, right? He was like,
yeah, it was.
You know, it's why the Rabid Wolverine nickname works so well, because he's this little fucker who's absolutely swollen up to the gills, but he's gonna fuck you up.
Oh yeah, he just took it way too serious, and we all know how it ends. But like, we will obviously be covering Benoit a lot when it comes to late 06, early 07. Yes. So just be prepared for that, because he is a feature player of these WWE ECW. Same with Kurt Angle, but like, yeah, Benoit very much took this serious. Even though it didn't look like they're having fun, you could tell they're having fun. Like, if Benoit could crack a smile, he'd go, "You were,
I don't think Benoit smiled for much." But yeah, there we are. Would you suggest people actually watch this match, like seek it out, or like?
Yeah, I recommend you seek it out. It's not their best match, obviously. There's better Benoit Eddie matches.
I think it's different. It's more interesting tone, right? Because obviously Eddie's furious to be there. Like, Benoit's like doing his best for what he's got, but ultimately, you know,
he's just he never cracked a smile, did he? In WWE, he never was like. He was always just.
Yeah, he just always looked angry, which added to his like character, right? But was it actually a character? Who knows?
But yeah, I just want to
better.
Just want to say this, like, when we were watching this, it was like the invaders were up in the balcony. Then all you hear is I was like, oh shit, business has picked up. Because again, just to say on that, the start of Benoit's theme, even post 07, scares the shit out of me, because it's just, when you hear that theme, you're either getting fucked up or you're in for a banger.
It's the main issue is that he had such a good theme, and it was such a perfect theme, and it fit him to a T. But now it just feels bad whenever you hear it. So, like,
I do see that. I do see it in that guy makes jokes. I do see that in a lot in his meme videos, where it's like the FBI or no, the guards when you steal from a shop and it's just them eating an ice cream or from Hot Fuzz, and then it's like the guards when you illegally watch Man City versus Arsenal, and they're fucking breaking into Sainsbury's.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I love them ones. Or the fucking Elmo meme, where it's like, would you love me if I was a HDMI cable? And it's just slowly zooming in on Elmo's face and Benoit's theme was playing.
All right. So we
Well,
continue on the show.
we'll seek the match out. Like, again, if you want to seek it out, you don't have to. But if you seek it out, these next two matches, the Benoit and Awesome match, just seek them out.
Yes.
Obviously, people who know me, I would always say the best Benoit match is against Bret Hart, the one that was featured in Malcolm in the Middle, which I confused with the I don't know whether it was on Nitro or it was at WCW pay-per-view, but there is a Benoit. If you look at Malcolm in the Middle, when they're doing the intro, Benoit is getting locked in the sharpshooter by Bret Hart, and then it cuts to another cutting. If you look at the intro, it's there, like from season 1 to season 7.
That's
yeah.
wild. I wasn't expecting a Malcolm in the Middle reference in this podcast. I'll say that much. But yeah, let's move on. We get a little dumb segment where Joel Gertner is like, oh, Eric, I just have one question for you. And then I'm just like, oh, is he going to say something like, how's it feel that ECW won? But then he actually says, Eric, please can I get a job? Please, I need a job. Please, give me a job. And Bischoff just tells him to fuck off, essentially.
To quote the Kurt Angle, I don't have any space here, but I hear TNA's hiring.
Yeah, and then we get what is probably the like big, it's the token for like the big hoss like beat the fuck out of each other matches, as we get another in the series of Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka, which honestly these matches are short and sweet. I was actually, for reference, how long did the Benoit Guerrero match go?
This went on for 10 minutes and 37 seconds. But, like, some of that match was just basically then just gone.
Yeah, just
doing that to each other.
But yeah, just back to the Awesome Tanaka is the template of these matches are when is Mike Awesome gonna powerbomb him through shit? Like clotheslines, like just throws over the top rope. Like, man alive, the biggest spot of this match, not even the biggest spot, but obviously Mike Awesome picks up Tanaka on the ring apron and then runs some power bombs him through a table on the outside, where Tanaka just lands straight on his fucking head, and it's like, oh Jesus.
People who know this match, they know an infamous call that Joey Styles does, and it's very infamous because of 07, where Awesome did actually end his life. But he does a suicide dive, and Joey Styles, I think he was shoot bitter. I don't think this was a war.
He was so angry. He absolutely despises Mike.
I don't think he was in. I don't think he was in character.
No,
but he's like, Mike Awesome does a suicide dive. I wish he did that to his career or to himself.
Like, it's a shame he didn't do that in real life or something like that.
Yeah, it's a shame
he
didn't
do it in real life, and it's like,
and you're like,
and obviously in hindsight, Mike Awesome did kill himself.
But
and it's
again,
something that it's like I said, it's another thing of wrestlers taking things too seriously. Obviously, all the ECW guys, we were at war with WCW, and he was the champion, but he left. And it's ultimately like, look, WCW paying fat stacks, paying massive contracts, and for multiple years. And even if you weren't even if you weren't on TV, you were still getting paid shit tons. Like, as a wrestler, it was the safest money you're ever gonna get.
Like, how can I put it? It's like, would you work for ECW where you might get a late check, or would you work for WCW where you're gonna get paid on time? An example would be, would you work for us where you're not gonna get paid on time, or would you work for Cultaholic as an editor but you're gonna get paid on time? Like, essentially, would you rather work for us for free or work with a big company like Cultaholic where you will get paid on time? It's basically like that, and I don't know why. It still happens in an online basis, but it's much different. I don't know why people are so like, this wrestler left this company, they're dead to me. It's like, mate, it's better if a wrestler goes to a different company because you see matches that you won't see.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was different like 30 years ago when Brian Pillman like jumped ship to ECW to WWF. But like I know Mike Awesome's career in WCW was pretty shit. I always joke that about that 70s guy. Very fucking the one moment I remember is the big party bus coming down to the ring and about 20 white as dead about the 20 white guys jump out of the bus and start beating the fuck out of Booker T and Kevin Nash, and then like Jarrett hops out the bus and starts hitting them with a bat. It's WCW in 2000. But like, if you're getting paid stacks by WCW, would you rather work for WCW or go to ECW, where Paul Heyman might pay you on time? He might.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where it's a bitter thing that obviously came across, and obviously I'm sure Joey would probably even now be like, fucking hell.
He'd probably be like, he deserved it.
I
No
wouldn't be
styles.
surprised considering ECW people, because obviously they were at war and it was a big like, yeah, this is a revolution, we're changing wrestling, and
You're
obviously
not.
they're not. They were just another cog in the wheel, and now they're back under the people who bought them. Wait, did they even buy them actually?
Yeah, I believe the bottom. Like my take on ECW, I understand people go, but it was revolutionary. Was it revolutionary? Yes, you were getting these new up and coming guys that you were never going to see in WWE or WCW. I understand half the ECW guys left for WCW, like Benoit, Jericho, Guerrero,
Yeah.
Mysterio, Psychosis, but it was not revolutionary. It was just a hardcore. I hate using the term outlaw macho, but it was basically that. It's like people. This is not a dig at anyone, but it's a dig at someone. It's like the people who say, "Oh, ICW is revolutionary. ICW is one of the best promotions. ROH is one of the best promotions." When Roderick Strong was champion, no, it's not. No, it's not. My take is ECW wasn't revolutionary. It was just the third best company in America, because obviously first would be WWF. Because in '99, if you had to choose between WWF, WCW, and ECW, what are you choosing? Like,
yeah, of course.
You're going to go WWF, ECW, then WCW. So yeah, ECW wasn't revolutionary. It was the third best company, but like,
I do agree. I don't think it changed wrestling. But definitely it did give a good alternative, right? And that's what a lot of the fandom are there for. It's an alternative to kind of a bit more campy, bit more like storyteller wrestling, you know? Like, it built that cult audience, and that's exactly what they wanted to bring with this. But ultimately, it is impactful. It was a big change, but ultimately, it fizzled out for a reason, because it just wasn't sustainable.
Like, again, it did pave the way for ROH and TNA. Let's be honest, it did pave the way. Even though for TNA, Jarrett leaving WWF paved the way for that.
Yeah, and the ransom money, of course.
But ECW did revolutionize that thing, bringing these indie guys in and giving them a showcase on TV. It did help them with ROH and TNA, but at least with ROH and TNA, they somewhat paid you on time. Was it good money? No, but they at least paid you on time.
Yeah.
Well, except for the early 2010s, but Dick Scatter's like, Hulk Hogan, here's your contract, here's all the money. Am I getting paid? Well, AJ Styles, been here since 2002, fuck off. But like early TNA and ROH were paying you on time. That was revolutionary to me,
Yes.
and I might be biased because, of course, because that wrestling style is now everywhere nowadays. Well, mostly the more main event matches are not there, except if you're ROH. Like, they changed wrestling to me because they showcased X Division guys that, yeah, these small guys can fight these big men. But ECW to me, it just didn't really click, if that makes sense. It didn't fit. It was for a select audience, and I wasn't the select audience. I don't think you were the select audience.
No.
And I feel like once you're that, because the problem with AEW and WWE is, or AEW mostly, is it's for a select audience. And I don't think wrestling should be like that. Wrestling should have everything for everyone. But ECW was kind of like that, where it's just for this select group of people. You either enjoy ECW or you don't. And I'm a big AEW guy, but I'll even admit it. They're pretty much doing, do you remember this guy from ROH? Bring him on in. You remember this guy from New Japan? Bring him in. You remember this guy from IPW? One Pro W? Bring him in. You know this guy from ICW? Bring him in. It's like, but how are you going to, it's fair enough bringing all these guys in, but how are you going to improve your company if you're just going to bring all these guys in for matches if you're not going to build your company?
Yes.
Like, I understand ECW was not like that, but ECW to me was pretty much for a select hardcore audience. And if you weren't the hardcore audience, you kind of were an outsider looking in. To me, I don't know what your take is on it, but that's my take.
Yeah, it was an alternative that was built for a reason. It obviously did develop that cult audience, but ultimately it's going to be very hard to become that third big company, because ultimately what the other companies lack for in being that alternative is they don't lack for financial backing, they don't lack for money. And yes, a lot of ECW fans would pay a shit ton of money to be there, but the sheer fact of the matter is you're cultivating a niche when ultimately the other wrestling products are cultivating a wide mass spread audience. And you can appreciate what ECW did. All of the best things that ECW did, everybody else stole. That's just a fact. Would there have been a cruiserweight division without ECW? Probably not. And it does have its significance, but ultimately it will just be boiled down to it was that third company. There were some cool ideas, but the potential was probably never truly realized.
Mm-hmm.
So let's continue talking
it's kind
about
of
that match.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's ended on. It's for this one soap fan who's here. Piggy talking about soaps and wrestling, like talking about wrestling and soaps. It's like soaps. Soaps will never be publicly funded. It'll be privately funded. And that's the same with wrestling. It'll be privately funded, not publicly funded. Because yeah, me and you might fund WWE, but will fucking Johnny, Terry, Tori, Bobby, will they all fund it? No, they won't. It's the same with ECW. It can't be funded by fans. You have to have, like, me and like Deadlock. At least I think they have some backers behind them. They're at least funded, but at least they're not on like Paul Heyman. They're actually keeping their money and spending it rightly.
Yes.
Paul Heyman basically just meant wait. Like he's like me when I go into a toy shop. He looked at all the fancy figures and went, 30 quid, 30 quid, 30 quid, 30 quid. I spent €400 when I could have paid my talent. Fuck's sake. That's basically Paul Heyman's, in my opinion, how I view it. He was basically like a kid in a candy store or a toy shop, and he basically bought all the toys he could, barely played with them, built an audience who came to see him play with them, and then basically fucked off near the end and killed ECW, and no one knew at the time. And then Tommy Schumann wanted to go out with a gun and kill him at WrestleMania 17.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild scenes.
Which you talk about Austin versus Rock being revolutionary. Tommy Dreamer coming out with a shotgun, shooting Paul Heyman in the face would have been fucking revolutionary. The front row behind them would have got blood on their shirt. Could you imagine? Fucking, I pull out the Glock. Right on the face.
It's still wild. I don't actually have anything to say about the gun bit, but I do say about someone taking out a hit and someone. It suggested. I was reading Tommy Dreamer's Wikipedia a bit earlier whilst we were watching the show. And it suggested that Tommy Dreamer has family has ties with the New York mob, or the New York mafia. And so obviously one of his first matches was in a fairly small place against Bill DeMott, who attacked him from behind. And then apparently his nan, I think his dad or his granddad tried to jump the barricade and start fighting him. Obviously because they're like, this is real. And obviously his nan is like, I'll put a hit on you. Just threatening Bill DeMott. Obviously this was all resolved, but that's just funny stuff to think about. In terms of the biggest spot in this match, obviously the Mike Awesome or Masato Tanaka match finishes as Mike Awesome powerbombs him onto a table over the top rope, and then even dives on top of him, and then counts for the 3. Like I said, it's a really it's just such a good fun match where it's like, okay, and I'm gonna powerbomb you here, here, and here, and you're gonna kick out, but it's gonna be like, whoa, fucking hell. like genuine like shock of like, holy shit, they just did that.
Like, we give Mike Awesome credit. We will always credit Mike Awesome. Like being always credited Sean O'Haire. It's just a shame that guys like Sean O'Haire, Mike Awesome, and Test came at the wrong time.
Yes.
Because if they were around today, like your Brody Kings, they would be treated as big guys you don't fuck with. But obviously, since it was the early 2000s, you know, these high flying big guys don't really fit in with oh, you're a big guy, what do you do?
Yes.
Like you don't. I mean, you're a big guy in like that sort of wrestling. You can't really fit in because all you have to do is just do a chokehold, maybe a kick, maybe a punch, power bomb, pin.
Yeah.
And you look at Mike Awesome. He doesn't fit the punch, kick, power bomb. He's just a fucker who just keeps going like that. He's going for as fast as he can. And I feel like if he was around today in AEW or WWE, even though we probably go, oh, he's overrated, people would actually go, look at Mike Awesome, look at Sean O'Haire,
Well, it's
look
just
at Test.
in a time where a lot of the people are just a lot more athletic and a lot more kind of leaner. Like guys like this who are just genuinely massive, like freaks of nature type characters. Like they probably would have done a lot better. Like you imagine Test in like 2022. But you know, technically he may not be the most sound wrestler, but like he's got one out of a big boot, and that's all he fucking needs. Like
exactly.
It's just kind of a lot of these. It's just a lot of wrestlers don't have much aura around them. Some wrestlers you look at and you're like, I've got a better physique than them. Like, you know, I don't. Of course I don't.
Chris Jericho.
Probably do in that case. But ultimately, it's just these like wrestlers have a lot of, due to their sheer size, it just has this physical charisma that a lot of people don't have because simply they're not physically imposing. Like, sheer fact of the matter is. And obviously you can tell that obviously Mike Awesome's he's not on fucking steroids. Like the size of him, he's tiny, but he's still like fucking huge. Just really good. I said it was a match of the night personally. I'd watch this one. I wouldn't necessarily say watch the Guerrero Benoit match. Watch this match; it's great fun.
Watch the Benoit Guerrero and then watch Awesome Tanaka, because Benoit versus Guerrero, yeah, you're gonna be sad. Like I know people are going, Benoit's not a legend, he's a murderer. But let's be like, in terms of wrestling, two legends gone too early. I think you look at Mike Awesome versus Masato Tanaka, and you're like, holy shit. Like, so like you get sad of Benoit Guerrero, but you appreciate Masato versus Awesome. I know that sounds depressing, but let's be honest. If you're looking at Benoit versus Guerrero going, these are real craps, you're looking at them going, what the fuck happened to your career, man?
Why did it have to go this way?
Why did you have to leave so early, Eddie? Who knocked the door and let you in? Like, oh, saddens me. Like, we could have got Eddie versus Sean. We could have fucking got Eddie versus like AJ Styles. Oh. We probably did get AJ versus Eddie, but I'm talking about modern day AJ.
Yeah, like AJ back then, AJ now are two completely different beasts entirely. But yeah, I suppose that was a match tonight for me. But if we continue onwards, excuse me, Heyman comes out for one of the most like infamous shoot promos of all time.
Was it actually a shoot? I thought it was a work.
Well, you know, work shoot kind of. Like, I'm sure he just got to say some stuff. And I will say, I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't all planned, because wrestlers are pretty shit at actually reacting to things. And they just kind of like go down on the one thing that's wrong, and they're like, "But that's 3 words, Paul." Yeah, grow up. But yeah, obviously the 3 biggest lines is obviously "hide your wives," it's Edge, you know, and then Matt freaking Hardy. And obviously the wrestlers probably a bit blindsided by that, because Edge is like, "But that's 3 words. That's 3 words, Paul. That's not true." Just stop it.
What's the thing he says to Bischoff? We're watching ECW One Night Stand, not WCW. And then
yeah,
Bischoff's
it was saying it's not Heyman going to a WCW show, it's Bischoff going to ECW. And then obviously you get the famous reaction image, just the fucking, you know, the perfect It's such like it's framed incredibly. It's the perfect reaction image.
He wouldn't want to be compared to him, but Ash said it to me, Blumpié's father. Just fucking fuck you. When's the WCPW reunion, lads? Come on.
And obviously the other most famous line is obviously the JBL is only a champion because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays. And then obviously JBL, he's ruined, mate. He's crying later. Like that fucked him up.
Like it's a work for most wrestlers, and like we talked about how Benoit takes it seriously. JBL was sniffing his own arse and smelling it. Like he was fucking, like he was fucking,
yeah.
like he was fucking, like he was taking it seriously. Like you know he was not messing around. Like he was doing the fucking whole, doing that, like bouncing jacks. And like I know JBL on the inside was like, how fucking dare you, Paul? How fucking dare you?
Plus, I could genuinely imagine there being somewhat of a rivalry between the brands because they were kind of pitted against each other. We're gonna make SmackDown the best show. Done. Fuck you, Raw. Fuck you, fuckers. Hate you all.
2003, 2002, and 2003 SmackDown. It's pretty underrated because you have the SmackDown 6.
Yes.
Or I guess you call it now the SmackDown 4. I'm holding up 4. Yeah, I'm holding up 4. And obviously Chavo. People don't consider Chavo the SmackDown 6.
Chavo.
And we all know the other one.
Chavo.
So yeah, the SmackDown 4 or 6. So yeah, Eddie, Benoit, Angle, Edge, Rey Mysterio, Chavo.
Yes. And I suppose this politely wraps us up all the way towards the main event, which is obviously going to be the Dudley Boys and the Dudley Boys versus Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman. Obviously we're watching the network version, so Sandman came out as really mid fucking cover of Enter Sandman. Doesn't even hit the same beats, lads. I get that you want to avoid copyright stuff, but like Sandman is just an entrance, and that's the whole point. He does the entrance, he smashes the can on his head, and he uses a fucking Singapore cane. That's the whole point of Sandman. That's all he's good at. And, he does get slightly better as he actually gets a proper contract, for the first time in a while, he can actually set up grassroots and go, oh, fuck, I'm actually getting paid quite well for this. But yeah, ultimately, you can't have Sandman without Enter Sandman by Metallica. It's just wrong.
Yeah, it's like Grado not coming out like a prayer.
Yeah, it's such an iconic thing together.
Like it's just certain wrestlers you can't imagine them without music. Like obviously Edge, you can't picture him either without Rob Zombie. Never Gonna Stop Me.
No one likes it,
except for us. Or him coming out to Metalingus. Yeah. Like if Edge when he went to AEW just came out to hey Magaringer, number 95, take me home.
Yeah, me and Piggy would be like, yeah, but then everybody else would be like, sorry,
Adam Copeland. Who's Adam Copeland? And then like the one guy in the back is like light bulb going off. Oh yeah, Edge. It's like when Christian, because everyone knows Christian for Just Close Your Eyes. Either the shitty remix, which I don't mind, or the original. So it's like when Christian debuted at AEW, they were doing the fucking countdown that he did in TNA, and then he comes out to the theme, and no one knows it until Christian Cage's name appears on it. It's like that. It's like Bryan Danielson, not Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan is different to me personally, but Bryan Danielson, when he's on the Indies, you can't have him without the final countdown. I know Tony Khan gets it for the big pay-per-views, but that's kind of it. It's certain wrestlers have these musics, and some of them with the music it makes them 10 times better.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Sandman without Enter Sandman is just a shit wrestler. Sandman with Enter Sandman is a decent wrestler.
Yes,
if that makes sense. Edge with Metalingus is already good. Edge without Metalingus is already good, but you add Metalingus on top of that, it's a whole package. Same with Bryan. Same with Christian. I don't know if Ash differs, but I prefer Christian Cage's rip off of My Last Breath. That's not My Last Breath.
I like just Close Your Eyes more, personally.
Which version? The waterproof blonde one or the
Either,
second person.
honestly, I can take both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose, yeah, it's essentially, moral is, don't have Sandman without Enter Sandman. It's ridiculous.
It's
But ultimately,
another.
they do have it, of course. We could just go watch it on YouTube and it would be just as good. But ultimately, we're just going to watch what's put in front of us. I'm not going to do any extra shit. So
It's like it's another example before I let you go through the match. It's another example would be Stone Cold. Either you fuse Stone Cold without the glass breaking, or you don't. To me, Stone Cold is never Stone Cold without the Disturbed song. It will never happen again unless he somehow goes to a different company. It will never happen again. But he's Stone Cold to me is when the glass shatters, that Disturbed song starts playing, and he's doing the fucking whacking Leader over the head with a chair multiple times.
yeah,
That's Austin to me.
yeah, the Disturbed song made. Obviously, the normal Stone Cold theme is great and it perfectly fits, but the Disturbed theme fit his like kind of fuck everyone, you know. Like it made him more of like the outlaw type character, right?
Yeah,
Whereas the normal theme is good, it's fantastic, it's one of the best themes, but ultimately the Disturbed is like, oh shit, you know.
Had he kept that theme, I would have like he should have kept that. But it's that kind of thing where it didn't stay too long. Like everyone loves My Time by Triple H. It's just the fact it didn't stay too long. It went from My Time to the game, then it went to Evolution's theme, and then Triple H's theme again, then DX's theme, then King of Kings.
Yes.
And they're back to my is the game for some reason.
Yeah, but ultimately it's just a good song can make someone 10 times better. Like I said, if Grado didn't have like Madonna's Like a Prayer, like that takes away 60% of his entire fucking aura.
Like again, I was at All In, and I was like, oh, we're getting Grado out, and then it's like, well, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he came out to Big Show's theme, and it's like, like I'm happy he was in Wembley, but ultimately he could have got his own entrance and had one of the biggest pops out there. But he was putting like 5 minutes on the pre-show. Regardless, we're stalled too long. The main event, of course. This one starts off just to get a lot of the pops from the crowd. So obviously they're all in the ring, but the Blue World Order come out. Obviously Stevie Richards, the Blue Meanie, and Simon Nova,
Hollywood Nova,
Simon Diamond, whatever. That's that guy. We all vaguely know him for being a bit of an enhancement talent. And yeah, they come in, they do their like promo, blah blah blah, and then they super kick Sandman as a Dudley's like attack. Then Kid Cash just kind of comes out of fucking nowhere somehow and is thrown over the rope. Just to set up what comes later. But Balls Mahoney and it's Axel Rotten? Ian Rotten? I don't fucking know. Axel Rotten comes out, and this obviously they brawl out. They're in the walkway, and obviously Kid Cash comes, does a massive like Shelton Benjamin type fucking dive onto all of them. Yeah, there we are. This match is nothing. Honestly, this match is normal, generic, nothing match. And it all just kind of slowly plods along till the end, where obviously Lance Storm and Just Incredible run out with like a weird barbed wire circle. But you know, they bring out Francine, who kicks Tommy in the balls. Absolutely buckled me. I was just like, what? Yeah, kick him, Francine. But then, oh god, I'm gonna struggle to say this one. Belula McGillicuddy. I don't fucking know. Comes out. And they have a cat fight, and obviously Joey gets to do his little. The more of the night went, the more I realized that I don't like Joey Styles as a commentator, because he's like a 17-year-old boy, just a cat fight. Like me stretching out my words and trying to use my breath, being like, oh, and then Joey Styles hit that thing. It's like, it's just not fun, is it? It's just not cool. It's not funny. It's not interesting. It's just breathe. Just breathe.
The thing is, and I will defend Joey Styles, even though I don't like Joey Styles. He's not my commentator. My commentator is when you have two people who banter off each other, like McAfee, Cole, West, and Tenay, Shivani, Taz, and Excalibur. they all banter off each other.
Yes.
Joey Styles in ECW had no one to banter off, so he had to improvise.
Of
so
course.
he had to do that.
Yeah, he had to make the moments unique in itself by his own. So
and the problem
fair
is,
enough.
that's why he worked in ECW. But when you're bringing him into WWE, where he
With
has
Mick
to
Foley.
with Mick Foley, and then was it Jerry Lawler or JR on Raw? He had to commentate with, and then he does the whole "I wasn't good enough for WrestleMania, but I was good enough for Backlash." He doesn't.
Oh, it's a great promo. I love that shoot promo or work shoot promo.
Then he doesn't really work. That's why he wouldn't work in WWE or TNA or any of them companies, because they all build around a 2-man commentary team or 3-man or 4-man. 4-man is fucking havoc. I would never have a 4-man commentary team. You have like 4 fights just talking, and it's like you're schizophrenic, like fucking hell. Who's talking where and who's talking how? Basically, and then that's why Joey Styles to me worked in ECW, but he does not work the WWE format. I'm not saying WWE is the king of 2-man commentary teams. They're not. Again,
I mean, they
none
are.
of them are.
Come on.
Yeah, well, they are, but of course, people will go JR Jim Ross.
Michael Cole.
Why did I say JR Jim Ross and not fucking J the King Lawler?
Like,
yeah,
even
they are
now,
the king.
you have the lovely combo of Wade Barrett and Michael Cole, which works perfectly because you have campy heel Barrett and kind of serious but actual face Michael Cole. Like, yeah, essentially Joey Styles doesn't work in the WWE system. It's perfectly fine. We got what you got. Mick Foley's Deadwood when it comes to commentary. He's not very good at all. Doesn't care.
Unless he's a heel.
But ultimately, it's just not interesting. In the role.
The problem is right, and this might come controversial, but I do not care. Mick Foley is a great comedian to me personally. Like he's a great man. Like if you sat down with Mick Foley and like Mick, tell me some road stories about your time at wrestling. Like he'd be like that granddad who'd be like, "Do you remember the time me and Terry Funk hit each other with exploding barbed wire baseball bat?" He's great for that. But when he's trying to bring his comedy self into wrestling commentary, he just doesn't fit to me personally, because he's trying to also be a commentator, but he's also trying to be the funny, he's Mick Foley.
Yes.
Mick Foley. It doesn't work.
No.
Because the problem is you have Mick Foley trying to be funny, and Joey Styles trying to be, bye. It doesn't work. It's like if you have, instead of peanut butter and jam, you have peanut butter, chocolate, jam, and then fucking the fluff marshmallow spread. That's just a weird sandwich. And then you have put ham on top of it.
And none of them necessarily need the other to work. They are all fine by themselves. So ultimately, I just would say that ultimately Joey could have done it by himself, but there's too much to get through. Let's try something a bit different now. Obviously, he'll get Taz later on, which does work much better with Taz. I will say that much, but
until Taz gets drafted to SmackDown, doesn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, he gets drafted to SmackDown with JR. Then I think Matt Striker joins Joey Styles and ECW.
But yeah, is that all for the commentary front? So we
can
get through these final spots of the match.
Yeah.
Spike Dudley comes out, brings out some lighter fluid as Bubba lights the table, and they put Dreamer through it for the win.
Basically, people who know me, his name in TNA was Brother Runt. Sound familiar? It's like they're saying Brother Cunt. Yeah, they're basically put him through a flaming table. Then they try and get Michael Legatti. They try to whack her. Then Sandman comes in with a stick, beats the shit out of all of them. Kendo stick or a Singapore cane, and beats the shit out of them. Then he gets better up, and then basically, I don't know what happens next, but basically Stone Cold comes out at some point. Stone Cold basically comes out. Sandman is either drunk or he's great at selling. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell.
But Sam mentioned like, "Hey Steve, gotta get a beer," and then Stone Cold just like, "Come on, give me a beer." And he just fucking does all that shit. I don't know. I love the terrible Stone Cold impression. It brings warmth to my heart.
Like, again, the problem I have with Sandman is you can't tell whether he's working it or he's actually being serious. This is the problem I have with Sandman, where he's going,
give me a beer, Steve.
like, is he
And
actually
then
wanting a beer or
he
is he
does.
just
He
pretending?
wants a beer like a motherfucker. He's like, I need a beer in my hand right now. He's not working it. Let's be honest. It's ECW.
My favorite bit of Sandman is the diet of the Sandman, where he's going into like a 7-Eleven and he's getting fucking ice cream and like fucking beer, and he's just like, this is the diet of the Sandman, and he's just, it's just mental. But yeah, then like the Stone Cold basically says, come on down, WWE invaders. They come on down, they get into the ring, and yep, here comes the moment that has been talked to death for years upon years on YouTube, where we get
You missed it slightly.
Okay.
It's Taz. Taz comes out. He has his shit ECW music, isn't his WWE music, which is absolutely unbelievably good. I still love like that hit. The biggest missed opportunity is obviously when he comes into face Kurt Angle at the Rumble. And, he comes out, he's got the fucking entrance all yellow, he's got the towel over his head. It's like, oh, fucking taps out Kurt Angle, but doesn't count. It's like, yeah, it's Taz. Whoa, everything's working. Never did anything with it, of course. Never did anything
Hardcore
with
division.
it. Yeah, hardcore. Like that theme, absolute banger. Love it. Cool to see Taz as well in ECW. He chokes out Kurt Angle, obviously playing on their history. But yeah, all the SmackDown guys come to the ring and the Raw guys. They come to the ring, and it's just an all-out brawl. And everybody's throwing work punches except for fucking JBL, who just starts clobbering fuck out of Blue Meanie for no reason.
Apparently, I don't know if it's true, I might be making this up. Apparently, Blue Meanie said some comments online about JBL. Yeah. And like in real life, if like I took comments about me, just some comments, I don't care. But if he just made comments about me, I'm not gonna go up to his house, start fighting him. Like if we're told in wrestling, fake fight each other, I'm not gonna literally start throwing haymakers at him. It's just JBL again. He's kind of like a Benoit, where unlike Benoit, he smelled his arse and felt it. Like he was like, I am the shit. No one is better than me. I am the greatest. And that's the problem I have with JBL. He's a great gimmick. Don't get me wrong. Yes. Great gimmick. One of my personal favorite heels. Whenever I was in school, I used to tell people about JBL, my favorite JBL promo, which I don't know if you know about it. I don't know if I told you, but my favorite JBL promo is where he's at the border. The Mexicans start coming in, and he starts kicking them. He starts going, "Get out of here, you Mexicans!" And he's fucking beating up all the Mexicans across the board. Like that racist gimmick, which wouldn't work today. People got offended about the MJF pennies thing because it was too offensive, and it's like, come on, it's an actual story that builds upon his character from a child, from when he was a child. Like JBL was a gimmick, but he took the gimmick too seriously to himself.
Yes, of course.
Like you make comments about him, he's gonna get annoyed for some reason. I wouldn't personally. I'll just take it under the chin. Oh, fucking John said that you're a shit wrestler. Take it under the chin. You're not that big a man by responding. If you just take it on the chin, then it's better. Obviously I should learn from that, but still, if Ash said you're shit, Piggy, what am I supposed to do? Respond on his Twitch stream and call them an out? Like, it's like again to date this podcast.
We're all adults, right?
Yeah, it's the fucking
so just don't take it like a little child. But he said he was mean. It's like, who cares? You're all adults. I'm not gonna say Piggy's shit and then Piggy comes to my house and starts fighting me. Just have a conversation. You don't just beat the fuck out of him.
Again, to take this podcast, again, the modern example would be like Jack's films again.
Why are we doing this?
Okay, I won't date it. It's okay. But yeah, JBL beats the shit out of the Blue Meanie.
It's so funny to see because obviously everybody else is perfectly fine except for like the Dudleys who obviously just worked the match. But then you just see the camera shot of Meanie and just blood all over his face, and it's like, What the fuck did he do? And you can hear it on the hard cam where you just hear one of the fucking, like, you can just hear the smack of JBL's fist smacking Meanie in the face. And it's like, Blue Meanie, he seems like he might be a bit annoying, but he doesn't seem like an asshole. He seems like a guy who somehow managed to get to the point he is and just be so thankful that somehow he's made a living off of being a fucking fat guy who's blue. Like, he's absolutely chuffed to be to exist. Like, and just to beat the fuck out of him for no reason. It's absolutely unreasonable. Obviously, it's not a controversial take, and everybody said this at this point now. But
obviously, Big Stevie Cool will get revenge from Meanie. I think it was either Big Stevie Cool or Blue Meanie himself.
nah,
where,
it was
again,
Stevie Richards hit him with a massive chair shot.
yeah,
Like, pretty sure it concussed him. It's such a fucking fierce head, like, chair shot. Usually I don't like him, but that one is obviously deserved. So fuck you, JBL, you prick.
What's the one where he's with a dinosaur and is it the Budokan? He's in the Budokan with the fucking T-Rex. Like he's in Japan. He's in fucking Japan with a T-Rex or something, a blow up T-Rex. Like in the Budokan. I don't know, but yeah, and basically then Mick Foley grabs Eric Bischoff after Austin says, "Mick Foley, grab Bischoff." They drag Bischoff to the ring. All the Raw guys and SmackDown guys have left.
Sandman's still there, like, Steve, give me a beer. He's still there. And then Steve's like, fucking hell, son. Somebody get this man a beer. It's just fucking...
And I don't know who started it, but someone hit legs drops Eric Bischoff to the ground, and then I didn't hear this.
Bischoff gets hit with a 3D from the Dudleys, and
Yep,
a flying headbutt from Benoit, and Steve Austin says, "Kill that son of a bitch." Oh, fucking hell, guys, Jesus.
Benoit sat there and was like, "Gonna take this seriously, guys." Benoit to work, please. Benoit, stay back. It's work. It's not a fucking work,
thing
son.
I found on commentary as well is obviously I think Mick Foley mentioned, like, oh yeah, no, he broke his neck one time and he said he's never gonna do a diving headbutt again. He clearly didn't learn. He just keeps doing it. Like, fuck's sake.
It has to be one of the worst wrestling moves, so it doesn't hurt your opponent that much compared to you.
Yeah,
because you're usually landing there on an opponent, right there.
you're diving like fucking 6 feet. No, maybe not 6 feet in the air. Yeah, you're diving high into the air and you're just coming down hard on their arm or on their fucking shoulder or their head. Like, heads aren't supposed to be bashed to fuck, lads.
Unless you're in the mid 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s WWE where chair shots just bang. Obviously, me and Ash have talked about it. But my favourite chair shots, of course, the one at Rumble 01, where Benoit runs off the ropes, dives through the middle rope, and Jericho just twats him with the chair right in the head.
Rough.
Wouldn't happen today, because if it happened today, again, people would be like, yeah, take time off.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, work Monday Night Raw, fucker.
But yeah, and the final move was obviously, well, basically he also gets hit with the 619 from Ray. The little wanky ECW fans, boo, boo, that's not an ECW move. And then Steve's just like, well, Eric, your thoughts. And Eric just goes, fuck ECW, yeah, boo, fuck you. And then he gets hit with a stunner as everybody gets a beer and the crowd cheer as we send it to the black screen, WWE logo in the corner. That is all of ECW. One Night Stand, 2005.
Again, to end this, they're doing a fucking wide shot. You see all the wrestlers, they're all like celebrating, beers in hand, they're all celebrating. The Dudleys are coming back down to the ring. Cut to Benoit.
Yeah, but does he have a smile? Does he have a smile?
Like,
is he a shot the mud? Like, what are you doing? Crack a smile, mate.
Like, because you pan around like the blue mean's covered in blood. He's like,
Yeah,
wouldn't it
even
be
Blue
here?
Meanie, I mean, he's a bit like fucking stunned, of course, but he's like, yeah.
And
Oh,
more.
fuck. It's absolutely ridiculous how, like, the amount of shit that Benoit does. But yeah, there we are. That was One Night Stand 2005. That was our review of it. Let's just kind of briefly go. What do we think of the show?
And it was a good show. It's a good starting point to relaunch WWE ECW. Had they relaunched it in 2005, maybe you could have kept the Dudleys, you could have kept Rhino, could have kept
Yes.
Sabu. I know Sabu stayed around, but you could have kept all these guys. But no, you waited a year too late.
Yeah.
I understand the whole storyline was Rob Van Dam brought ECW back, but you could have obviously just had Heyman come out on One Night Stand going, "We're back."
Yeah. Well,
I got the approval.
I could imagine that maybe they took this pay-per-view success and sold it to like TV network, like, yo, look at this. And obviously sold it to Sci-Fi, where there's a bunch of dumb rumors about what they wanted to put on a wrestling show, which is good fun. We'll get into it as we get onto the review. As I believe that we will be going on to the. Are we doing One Night Stand 2006 next, or the first episode of WWE ECW?
I have to go on the network if you don't mind, because I have the.
I'll go through my thoughts on the match then as we do that. But yeah, it was a pretty fun show. Like I said, nothing was trying to overachieve. All the matches hit their spots. It was good fun. It was good fan service to the fans. And it created a really genuine feel of like, this is important. Like get invested now because you don't want to miss this. Don't fucking change the channel. This is going to be really interesting. It's going to be important, and it took itself seriously, and it got a lot of hype and presentation. Probably could have done without the WWE guys hanging about, of course, but it's Vince. Probably would have seen just an ECW show by itself. Probably would have seen that as a bit of a risk. So fundamentally, it's very good, and it obviously led to one of the most famous work shoot promos of all time with Paul Heyman dressing down like Kurt, like Edge, Bischoff, and the others. Obviously some glaring issues like Joey Styles kind of saying that Mike Awesome should have killed himself. That one's a bit fucked in hindsight. But ultimately, I think it was a good show. Obviously, I thought the Masato Tanaka and the Mike Awesome match was my favorite of the night. And yeah, the worst match probably was the triple threat. It was just very mid, just not very interesting. Or the final match, because they was just like, brawl, do your spots, flaming table, win. And obviously the brawl at the end, I don't know, it doesn't really lead to anything, which is probably my largest issue. Have you found what you're looking for?
I'm looking for something. Begins the 13th of June. So One Night Stand is when the ECW One Night Stand is. It doesn't tell me when it is. Fuck's sake.
May 25th. That was when it was announced. They did the documentary and acquired the rights to ECW in 2003. They made a documentary, and then they organized One Night Stand 2005. They then decided, because since it did well and it was a success, that they organized One Night Stand 2006. And then they actually thought about reviving it full time. And then on May 25th, it was announced that ECW would be a standalone brand. It was going to be on Sci-Fi, and it debuted. I don't exactly know the dates. June 13th.
It debuted June 13th, and this happened June 11th. But I believe there's a Monday Night Raw. I have to Google it. I believe there's a Monday Night Raw that features ECW beforehand. We might have to do the Raw.
Yeah, well, whatever we do, we will figure it out off the podcast. Do we have much else to say about One Night Stand?
It's a good starting point. It's just a shame. Like, again, I'm excited for ECW, WWE, ECW. I'm hoping what we can do is bulk record and record a bunch ahead, so we're never really behind. Because unlike EastEnders, this is only 45 minutes and maybe a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But compared to EastEnders, where it's like 2.5 hours, fucking sit down, you're like, oh, ECW 45 minutes, fine, get through it very quickly. But yeah, it's a great starting point. A shame how it ends, because they first thought of ECW, it was good, they revived it, and then just like me, when I get something I don't want, they're like, I don't want it. But Monty Brown, we get Marcus Corvon.
Yes. Yeah, it was obviously it will be interesting to delve into our thoughts as and when we get to the episodes. But obviously the next up, I guess we will be doing One Night Stand 2006. That will be the next episode. Obviously these episodes aren't going to be nearly as long as this one. This is just as long as it needed to be because it is a pay-per-view, of course. I think we've genuinely kind of done the runtime of the actual show itself. I think we've managed to just about get to the same time. But there we are. So, welcome to One More Match. This was your fucking waterboarding test. And if you're still here, you've passed, and you are going to enjoy what we're going to be producing. But if you didn't like it, if you missed Berg, fair enough, but he's not here. It's me, and the One More Match has taken over. And simply saying, if you didn't like this, well, you might want to just leave, because ultimately this is exactly what you're going to get. Very rambly, very nonsense, lot of fun, good chemistry, good banter. We are One More Match. I have been Ash, been joined by Piggy.
One More Match doesn't have any socials. It probably won't have any socials. If you want to contact us, I will always just plug Watching Walford's socials, because we might just do like fucking updates for One More Match, but on the community tab.
Yes.
But if you want like to reach out to us for some reason, Watching Walford on Twitter /X, Instagram, and Twitch. Obviously, if we're live streaming on this channel, it'll be on YouTube, and I'll set up another Twitch account, please. And I have enough of Twitch emailing me going, look at these hot things you can do in October, and I'm like, oh, gosh. And obviously, subscribe to us on YouTube at One More Match. This is the sister channel, The Watching Walford. If you like our content, follow us on Watching Walford. If you don't like our content, unsubscribe. I'm not Ferg either. You're just gonna have like it and lump it. It's gonna be a hard pill to swallow, but that's gonna be it.
I mean, this has been a trial by fire, really. I think you've got exactly what we will be producing here. And if you don't like it, well, simply saying it's not for you. And that's fine, because not everything is supposed to be enjoyed by everyone. We are the ECW of wrestling podcasts. We are the alternative. We are unapologetically us. So, if you like us, congratulations, you found a new source of endless content. But if you don't like us, well, see ya. And if you're still here at this point, make sure to tell us something strange in the comment section down below. Like, how the fuck do you spell Beula? But whatever the fuck that is. McGillicuddy, that one. But yes, thank you for watching the Trial by Fire edition of our review of ECW One Night Stand 2005, which will obviously lead to our series going through WWE ECW, as we all love shit wrestling. Make sure to join us in the next one, and always remember, there's always just one more match.